JMV.com/care to learn the facts.
Schedule an appointment, even on a Saturday. Tell them JMV sent you.
Small business owners, is your internet making office tasks painfully slow? Are your file upload speeds sluggish? Are your video calls choppy? You need more speed. AT&T Business Fiber gives you up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. Faster upload speeds mean smoother, less glitchy video conferencing and faster file transfers. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST to get our best price on our best service. Imagine it, up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. AT&T experts can help you upgrade to AT&T Business Fiber. Soon, you're going to love your internet. Call 844-661-FAST now. Comparison by Telogical Systems, 12-2020.
Springtime in Indy. The home really took a hit this winter. Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41. So don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino.
Hubler Auto Group has 8 brands to choose from and thousands of vehicles in stock. Plus, all new vehicles come with a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. Visit drivehubler.com.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Butler closes out the regular season on the road at Creighton. Saturday at 4:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get late.
And again, it's picked off. It's Darius Leonard, a pick 6 for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. Yes, sir.
Sabonis down the lane with authority.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome in on a Thursday. Gloriously sunshiny outside, around 50, but it's all good. I think it's supposed to look like this for now a longer period of time, which is nice. So we're sitting at home last night, right? Maybe you weren't with me. Maybe you had already bailed. Maybe you thought something better was on. Maybe you're not getting it anyway because of this whole Sinclair beef back and forth and the lack of coverage. Maybe you had given up. Last night was an amazing game for a lot of reasons. Now, to me, I put it at DEFCON 3, must-win situation because you needed it. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, will it have an effect on tonight? Yeah, probably in the reverse. Because the one major guy last night that really helped you get over on what was going to be one of the more embarrassing nights that we have seen. Because it was well on the way. That one dude played 46 minutes last night. That we'll get to. Was it 46? He played 46 minutes game before last, I think, or somewhere in that neighborhood. I can't remember which one it was where he played 46. Last week? 1 in 46? What was the amount of time in which T.J. McConnell-Kyle played last night in total? Because Holiday Aaron didn't see the floor in the second half.
Last night, McConnell played 36 minutes.
36 minutes last night.
Because he only played 4 minutes in the first quarter.
So maybe he'll be much more rested coming up later on tonight then.
Aaron Holiday played 5 minutes total.
5 minutes
all in the first half.
All right, we'll get back to that coming up in just a minute. But here's what we noticed about last night's game. Last night's game came down to one dude that was refusing to let that happen, to let them go down like that, to be embarrassed like that against the Cleveland team that had turned the ball over 19, 20 times. I think 18 in the first half, 20-plus for the game. You know, had a 10-point lead, out-rebounded the Pacers astronomically in the first half and really for the game. Built a lead up to 19. This was ready to be one of those embarrassing types of performances that we were always going to go back to and go, well, yeah, about this team. Look what happened in Cleveland. And then up steps T.J. McConnell, who had 9 steals in the first half, which you think that is incredible enough. Got one more during the game. Got a triple-double with steals. What is that, number 6 in the NBA history? Where you get a triple-double by virtue of the third prong being steals? I mean, it was an incredible night. And it was Cleveland. I know Cleveland's better, and I would have been watching anyway because our friend Dylan Windler was playing. And actually giving them major minutes. He was playing down the stretch last night. And I know that you can't, and you probably won't, and you shouldn't, read into this as being some incredible moment to where you springboard to where this team starts winning again. But last night was a big deal because it stiff-armed and kept away a great deal of embarrassment. Because that was a lousy game for the most part. And what you got out of it would have been the numbers for T.J. McConnell, and what you also got out of it against a bad team, against a Cavaliers team, what you also got out of it was a team that they executed late, and I can't tell you the last time they executed late. I mean, if you watch them on Saturday night against the Knicks, lack of execution, down 2 with the ball, 14 seconds, blow it. Lack of execution against Golden State last week, blow it. I mean, McConnell was incredible last night for a variety of reasons, but lifting up a team that seemingly was sinking right before our eyes last night, even against a bad team that was playing really individually. Colin Sexton looked really good, other than the turnovers. But they turned the ball over so many times. I could not believe when the Pacers were at one point in the second half. I think Cleveland, or check that, in the first half, right before halftime, Cleveland had turned the ball over, 18 times? And they had an 8-point lead. 8-point lead, turning the ball over 18 times. And it was incredible. But I got to give it up to T.J. McConnell, I do. And not in a way to where, I know I tweeted out something from Teen Wolf a little bit earlier. No, this was a basketball professional. Doing all and relying upon all his means and measures to will a team last night that really did have to be pushed. I mean, everything was going haywire. They're not knocking down shots. They're getting out rebounded like crazy. As usual, they can't stay in front of anybody, can't guard anybody. I mean, everybody gets right, and, either you have a couple of different things to do. You drive, you go baseline, you drive, somebody's going to be cutting in from the top, there's a dunk. You're going to go down the middle, you're going to get where you want. Miles comes out to defend, to try to block, there's a dump off, there's a dunk. How many different times did that happen last night? It was going to drive you crazy, and this was going to be one today. Today's conversation would have been, as Kevin and Bowen and I talked about yesterday, you know what? They've not done it. That's not what they do. But this team needs to bail and be a seller. And listen, maybe they still should. I'm not suggesting last night changed anything. Last night, the one thing it did change would be the level of ridicule that it would have received around here. And it was because of one dude. One dude carried it. So if you're thinking out there, well, wait a minute, I want to see this team decide to bail. I want to see this team go for a high draft selection. It's a COVID year, little to no fans. I mean, hell, half of you can't watch it on TV anyway because of a television carrier dispute. There's a lot more conversation than I can remember in a while as to why people, including Kevin Bowen and I were talking about this yesterday, people suggest this team should be a seller at the trade deadline. and hope to be positioned for a lottery selection opportunity. I can't lie to you about that. It is incredibly boring, but you also look at it that it's this constant treadmill of this is where this team is, and, well, this is where this team is. Here's where it was, here's where it is. It's kind of the same spot. So you can't easily dismiss that argument. I mean, last night really did say, because today would have been, I think, overwhelmingly over the top. This team should bag it. Why are you messing with it? Clearly you're not good enough. And again, I'm not suggesting whatsoever that if anybody had that thought that beating a Cleveland team that turned the ball over 500,000 times last night is some tremendous accomplishment. But given those circumstances, how they look, down 19, done, basically saved by one guy that, here's the one thing, and I will always say, I said this to Kyle a little bit earlier, and see if you follow me on this. I can't tell if T.J. McConnell is playing in his first minute on the floor or his 36th minute on the floor. It's the same. You know what I'm saying? You see drop-off everywhere else or a lot of other places, don't you? You can notice. I mean, you can notice. But with McConnell, you can't tell between his first minute and number 36. And that is a testimonial. When people throw around play hard or this guy plays hard, they throw it around all the time where it becomes just somewhat, well, meaningless. Well, I'm going to go out and play hard. You don't really know how it is to play hard until you play hard like that. Not 1 ounce. It was an amazing game for a lot of reasons because it was really a bad game. I mean, it was completely unenjoyable to watch. But one dude rescued it last night. One dude that had an amazing night. One dude that had a record-breaking night. It was incredible. So tip of the cap to one T.J. McConnell for saving the Pacers a lot on this day. I mean, a lot. They're probably still going to get it. And listen, I'm not going to suggest you're going to be wrong. But you see that happen last night. You see Shams with the tweet a little bit earlier today that it looks like Karis LeVert is going to be back here after the All-Star break at some point. Now, we say that we expected that anyway, right? But at some point, what do you think, a couple of weeks after the All-Star break maybe? What? That's what Shams is talking about. And again, I'm not saying this is going to save the season. I'm not saying it's going to make this team a hell of a lot better. But the one thing that you also can tell, what was the rotation last night? 8? How many dudes played last night? 9?
Well, 9, but Holiday was only 5 minutes.
Yeah, so 9 players played last night. Holiday had 5 minutes, didn't play in the second half. I mean, just getting a different body out there, especially a guy that has scored, has scored 50-plus in this league, is averaging near 20 points a game, is going to be a help. But last night it saved a lot, and it was also on display when the next time anybody tells you about hustle and playing hard, that right there, last night was the definition. That's what you do. Because he had that entire team on his shoulders most of the time. And I know that Brogdon made shots down the stretch. I know Sabonis made some shots as well. Justin Holiday wasn't having a good night, knocked down a big 3 late too. But the night, the ownership of the night, and the reason why they ended up winning the game was because of T.J. McConnell. And again, I think this is one of the biggest compliments you can get as a basketball player. When the people that watch you, you don't know if he's in his first minute or number 36 by the way that he's playing the game, by how hard he's going at it, how fast he's going after it. And that's T.J. McConnell in a nutshell right there. I know sometimes when he spots up from 3, I know you're probably covering your eyes. I know you look at him as, well, this guy is just playing, but that is just his game. And, this state loves basketball, and this state loves to throw around, well, this is how you play, and we know how to play. And, yeah, well, if you know how to play, or let's just say this, if you don't know how to play, you watch that's how you play. I got news for you. If you ever said you played hard in a game, I bet you did, but I don't know if you played as hard as that. That is the baseline of comparison. Because he was all over it last night. So, tip of the cap to TJ McConnell. A triple-double, and he gets it with steals, of all things. 16 points. What was he from the floor last night? Perfect, 8 of 8? What would you expect more from TJ McConnell, going 8 of 8 from the floor or double-digit steals?
Man, even those 8 for 8, he's so good in that lane, the little turnaround jumper. Seems to always get it to go.
And he was driving dudes nuts last night, too. You know how off-putting that is? If you're inbounding the ball, and, he just kind of half-assed doing it, right? Because you do it so much. It just becomes so commonplace. It's a lazy pass, don't get me wrong. He's just taking advantage of that. I love it, though. Absolutely love it. And the lack of energy that we saw from this team when they got down 19, and then what he did to lift that, and he did. He lifted that throughout the team. That was truly amazing to watch last night. So, if you didn't get a chance to watch it by virtue of your carrier, by virtue of just tuning out because the way they've been playing and the losing streak, Wednesday night, they're playing Cleveland. So what? You missed it, and you missed a lot because that was a fun game to watch for being a really crappy game. Face it. Cleveland's not very good. Pacers get down 19. Had 5 first-half rebounds. Cavaliers had 18 first-half turnovers. It doesn't get much more ugly numbers-wise. It's weird. I don't even know if I've ever heard, certainly not seen a game with such ridiculous numbers like that. But TJ McConnell made it worth it, and TJ McConnell last night, don't let anybody – if somebody didn't watch it, then whatever. If you're just opening up the score sheet or opening up the box score and you see that and you go, oh, hey, triple-double, whatever. If you were watching that last night, you know what he meant to that team. You know what he meant to that night and that team that was just about ready to circle the drain against a bad team. That was a pretty amazing performance. We think about it all the time. We certainly glorify, for good reason, some of the more amazing performances in the Pacer uniform. I'm betting right now we talked to Jeremiah Johnson at the bottom of the hour. I bet you on Fox Sports Indiana, if they had time enough to do it, they're probably going to go over some of the better, historic, notable, individual, single-game performances. That was right there. On a Wednesday night in Cleveland where the game itself just was kind of bleh. That performance was right there. Yeah, it was amazing. So shout out to TJ McConnell right there. And if you want to discuss it, we can at 239-1070. I mentioned Jeremiah Johnson of Fox Sports Indiana is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we will surely dive into that. It was something because nothing else is working. The defense, most of the time, was absolutely atrocious. Atrocious. Had a dude help save him. So we'll talk about that with you coming up. JJ, bottom of the hour, coming up as well. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. I mentioned this yesterday. So the Colts have this cap room. The Colts have a general manager that still likes to have cap room support, right? And we are expecting some blue light special Kmart-esque back in the day shopping, right? between the track section and the old school Kmart cafeteria. That's right where everybody expects Chris Ballard to be shopping. However, might the pandemic, might the salary cap itself, might it bring it down? Because I give you a great example. Nick Moore this morning sent me a tweet and it says, hey, what do you think about T.Y. Hilton? Does he return? And my thought all along is, and I know this, that the Colts would like him to return, but is he going to get a higher market value someplace else? Is he going to get more money from somebody else? When was that tweet he sent? Was that on Monday when he sent out that tweet that he's ready to go? And I mean, to me, that kind of point the finger that he was absolutely wide-ass open and making some sort of decision, even if it's not here. Here's the thing of it. This wide receiving core, it has to get better. And if it involves T.Y. Hilton as a part of it and it gets better, in year number 2 for Michael Pittman Jr., if it gets better, so be it. If Zach Pascal develops even more, so be it. If Nyheim Hines, they figure out how to, again, it seems like it took them a while last year offensively to figure out how to properly utilize Nyheim Hines. If they can continue to do that and transform him into, that threat that is in around the Darren Sproles, better than the Darren Sproles area, I'm not sure. Just darted a dartboard here. The one thing you can't do is you can't expect it. You can't expect Paris Campbell to come back and finally give you what you had hoped he was going to give you for the past 2 years. Yeah, you know what? The reason why you didn't go out there and spend a little bit more is because, salary cap is down, pandemic. You listen to the future. You got Quentin Nelson. You got Darius Leonard. You're going to have to pay one of these days. You can't go in reverse at wide receiver. I know I talk about it all the time, and it really does drive people nuts, and I don't blame you. But I've been right. I do not blame you. I've been right. I was right 2 years ago when I told you that Dontrell Inman saved the Colts at that position midseason when he was brought in, saved it because they did not properly set themselves up. It is okay. If Paris Campbell transitions into what you expect, that is great. But again, you can't expect it. So if T.Y. Hilton is an answer, then so be it. But to me, looking around out there for something a little bit better, what Rick Venturi tells us all the time, right? Somebody that is absolutely hard targeted, that defensively the coordinator needs to take away. That's thinking about could be a difference maker. More of a difference maker, and especially slotted in with guys that are going to grow and guys that have already been established. All right, 239-1070. Email address is JMV at 1070thefan.com. I got that to go on. I got college hoop to go on. IU from the other night. We'll do that as well. College basketball is kind of weird. You get a bunch of Big 12 action later on tonight. When's the last time you had a bunch of Big 12 action on a Thursday? That's kind of weird. Does it happen often? Pac-12, Big 10, I'd
say Tuesday, Thursdays are big.
I thought Mondays and Saturdays were big for the Big 12.
I don't know.
Just kind of weird.
Seems like Tuesdays there's a lot of Big 12 games on too.
Yeah, we're getting down the stretch here. There's going to be a lot of interesting things go down. You got Arch Madness over in St. Louis, Mo Valley. Shout out to Greg Lansing and my Sycamores. Once they officially get underway over there, we got a lot into high school hoops from last night, too, throughout the area in sectional play. That and more at 239-1070. Email address at JMV at 1070thefan.com. I've yet to log in. I will. Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live. Welcome in. You guys can participate. You can watch, do whatever you want. Listen Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live. Mike Chappell, 5 o'clock hour. Anything goes, 6 o'clock hour. Jeremiah Johnson of Fox Sports Indiana on what was a really bad game, but an amazingly incredible individual performance type of night in Cleveland in preparation for the Denver Nuggets before the All-Star break coming up later on tonight. That and more. It's 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
I was getting online and doing my tax stuff and everything, and they give you one of those I am not a robot codes. It was an upside down exclamation point. But this is like
Are you sure that wasn't an I, Joe? A lowercase I.
No, because it was the full length.
I think it was an I. I think it was a small I.
No, it was as big as everything else.
That's what she said.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Looking for a lighter option that doesn't skimp on flavor? Get to Twin Peaks and grab their beer-battered fish and chips. Fridays through March, the fish and chips and a 22-ounce Miller Lite or 22-ounce Coors Light is just $10 for the bundle. Twin Peaks, 82nd and I-69.
My daughter's making college plans, and she's got a long wish list for her future. We toured IUPUI, and we're impressed. With the campus located in downtown Indianapolis, she'll have access to real-world opportunities that will put her education to work. And with professors ranked in the top 50 nationwide for exceptional undergraduate teaching, she'll have the guidance she needs to make her future goals a reality. Want to know more? Go to iupui.edu.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Dietel Realty. MarkDietel.com, 317-755-4232. Again, online, markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. All right, the only realtor that I trust. And I'm not at this point yet, but some of you out there may just be. And you have kids, they're growing up, they're moving out, and you want to downsize your home. Where do you go? Who do you talk to? Who do you use? And I'm here to tell you, because I love it being easy and hassle-free, it's Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty at markdietel.com at 317-755-4232. Again, online, Mark, Dietel.com. Smooth and easy, and will get the job done right for you. Call my friend Mark Dietel today. MarkDietel.com, 317-755-4232. That's Mark, Dietel.com today.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
If you missed a turn, there's always another turn. Take it to get back to the turn you missed. Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Last year, our average client saved almost $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Coach Brad Underwood, you're a father. You're a married man. I always say the three greatest days in a coach's life are road wins, birth of your children, and your wedding day. And the order depends on who you beat on the road. And I got to tell you, Tyler's a nice kid, man, but he's behind the road. Road winning mission.
He was a distant third last night.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back, JJ, in a second. Now, YouTube Live. Let's get this bad boy started in there. Oh, man. You guys are talking about possible free agents inside YouTube Live in the lounge right now. I mean, Kenny Golladay has been a guy that's been discussed. The problem with Kenny Golladay is he was unable to stay healthy a year ago. I mean, that is a that's something. It makes you wonder if they would seriously think about that. But I mean, he is a guy that if he could stay healthy, could really help you out. But they have a guy already. If he could stay healthy, he could really help you out. But he can't. That's been the issue. Hey, JMV, it sounds like we're going to see all kinds of guys getting cut around the league due to salary cap adjustment with the current situation. A lot of guys may settle for a strong one-year deal, which would be perfect for the Colts right now. That is from Wes, and that is something that I've talked about too, and we'll get into with Mike Chappell in the 5 o'clock hour. A lot of what we're going through right now with the available free agents, it is going to be an even larger pool coming up here as we lead into the next 2-week period here until they can start free agency, because cap casualties are going to be all over the place. Surprising ones and guys that may just very well fit right here. You, me, Mike Chappell, discussion, 5 o'clock hour. I'm back to you at 239-1070 on the other side. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline right now from Fox Sports Indiana, it is Jeremiah Johnson. So I sent you a text last night, and I said, this is embarrassing. They're down 19 in the third to a team that had turned it over 20 times so far in that game. They were well on their way to embarrassment, but there was one guy last night that refused to be embarrassed and refused to let that game slide in the loss column, and that was TJ McConnell. One of the worst real games that we had to sit through, but one of the better performances we have seen individually in a long time.
Yeah, I think I've sat through worse games. Let's be honest. In the first half, even when the Pacers.
Well, there's no doubt, but that was pretty bad last night. You got to, the rebounding disparity, the turnover, it was a bad game in general.
Well, we could kind of nitpick a little bit of that because the rebounding, part of that was because they did have so many steals in the first half. I just thought it was an unusual, crazy game that then when they were down by 19 points, I didn't have any disagreement with what you had texted. So at halftime, I was just kind of befuddled a little bit because you could have a guy playing so well, doing everything. You have that many steals. That's a good statistic. And there were some other things in the box score at halftime that you thought, well, if you're doing that, you're probably okay. And the rebounding, there just weren't that many missed cap shots to grab, and they didn't have that many offensive rebounds because that's not something the Pacers do well. It was an oddity. And midway through the third quarter, I was probably as frustrated as you because I figured down 10 at halftime, you've got to come out the start of the third quarter and play your absolute best basketball because we knew the stakes. You called it a must-win, and when you call it a must-win, then you got to win, right?
Yes. No question about it. Last night was.
And so then, down 19, and I did tweet T.J. McConnell coming into the game. The Pacers face a 19-point deficit. They're going to have to get McConnell magic or else. And basically, he didn't have the steals in the second half, but almost everything that they did well offensively for a short period of time, or really maybe for the remainder of the game, it happened when T.J. McConnell got into the paint and found a teammate, or, he kind of helped cause some problems defensively. And I guess I'll give Edmund Sumner a good amount of credit as well. Maybe didn't feel like we gave him enough praise on the postgame show because of what T.J. McConnell did, but it was really that Edmund Sumner, T.J. McConnell combination that caused the Cavs problems. And Darius Garland being out with an injury, as Quinn noted, that definitely helped the Pacers because they lost their second scorer, and it was all on Colin Sexton. So it was one of those games where at any particular time you could tweet or you could text or I could even get on the microphone and talk, and you could have a wide range of opinions. It's certainly one I'll remember for a long time.
Jeremiah Johnson, Fox Sports Indiana. We'll dive into the present Pacers situation with the Nuggets coming up later on tonight, the All-Star break, and then that incredible schedule coming up after that. But when you look at last night and the individual performance of T.J. McConnell, I said this a little bit earlier. We love basketball here. We're a state that loves basketball. We're known for loving basketball. We think most of the time we know best basketball-wise. And we always throw around, hey, that guy's playing hard, or hey, I'm playing hard. Last night was the definition of playing hard with T.J. McConnell. And I think the biggest compliment you can give is I can't tell if he is playing in minute number 1 or minute number 36 because he's going full bore. Redlining that thing anywhere in between. 136, 146. It is the same effort, and that is few and far between anywhere, really, much less the NBA, too.
You might think because of the way he plays that he just goes up and down the court and does wind sprints after practice because he does have that much energy. And maybe it's something where, I don't see him out, on the road doing marathons, and I don't see him doing any extra conditioning that any other player isn't doing, and I'm not seeing practice this season, so I don't have all the behind-the-scenes things.
I'm assuming that's a soccer-like condition he has, because that's like he plays like it's a soccer game. I mean, you just all of a sudden you snap a finger, JJ, and he goes to full sprint, and he's basically doing that an entire game.
This is what I think it is, and I think it's a mindset that would be good for a sixth grader listening right now, or someone that's in high school getting ready for their sectional semifinals, or someone in college as well. He plays every game like it's not a promise to him and that it could be his last. And because he started in the NBA that way, he was given an opportunity with the 76ers when I don't think many people thought he was going to be an NBA player. So the first time he got a chance to play, he figured, well, I'm not going to be more athletic. I'm not going to be a dunker, and I'm not even really a three-point shooter. So the one thing I can control is that I'm going to give it everything I've got every single minute, and I'm going to make it difficult for a coach to take me off the floor, and I'll make up for where I lack in other areas by my hustle. And if you're a high school kid getting ready to play in the sectional, do that. Can't think that you're tired. You can't think about maybe that you've got a pain in a certain body part because you fell on the ground. You've just got to give it everything you have. At some point, you will get a break. And so I think you bring up a really valid point, and it's easier said than done, though. You can always tell someone, play as hard as you can. Give it everything you've got. But at some point, your mind creeps in, and it tells you that you're tired. I'm sure it does it with you when you're playing recreation basketball. At some point,
it's like when I'm driving there, JJ. That's exactly how I feel. I'm like driving there going, why am I doing this? I feel terrible.
When you're standing outside the three-point arc and you're asking for the pass, you could easily go in and get a rebound, but you're too tired. That's
no doubt about that, yes.
And TJ just decides to do all the difficult things. And what a week it's been for him, because he started a game and played 46 minutes and 20 seconds. And in that game last night, he went in the middle of the first quarter and did not go out until halftime. He went in the middle of the third quarter and did not go out until he was doing the walk-off interview. So I hope last night I got home and actually had a beverage, because sometimes after a game like that, I just want to kind of, even if it's midnight, have a beer and just kind of think about for a little bit. I was thinking, he's going to go home and he's going to see his son for the first time in a week, and I'm guessing he might have daddy duty, but I hope he has a chance to have a cold one and just reflect on what he was able to accomplish, because that was one for the ages.
Fox Sports Indiana's got your coverage coming up later on tonight. Jeremiah Johnson joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. That still doesn't mask that win last night. The effort, the triple-double with steals for T.J. McConnell, does not mask the significant issues regarding this team. Defensively, last night, the offense was spotty at times at best. It felt... Where are we going with this team? It seems like now they were off for a week, but it seems like this All-Star break is coming at an even better time. And is this a situation, JJ, you think that getting Karis LeVert and his 18 points back, whenever that is, is this going to help remedy the situation here, or is this in large part, especially on the defensive end and on the perimeter, what we're going to need to get used to, because it just is what it is?
I don't have a great answer for that question, but I observe and agree with some of the things you're saying, that there are issues. It's weird because you can look at certain statistics, and this is just a completely different defensive style than fans and we've been used to seeing over the years, because they're switching defense so much and they're wanting steals. And if you can go back to the Dan Burke era, he used to tell me that steals are great, but that's not what our defense is built upon, because we'd rather play solid defense. And if you go for a steal, sometimes you're in bad position and you give up layups. Now, that's just a different defensive philosophy. I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but this team leads the NBA in deflections. They're one of the best in the league at points off of turnovers in terms of their season average. They've fallen off a little bit the last month or so, but the way they started and the way they did it last night, they got some easy baskets. So that's, I think, one of the things when you're struggling offensively, you need that defense to give you the easy ones, and it happened last night. But I still think there are too many breakdowns, and there are times that teams have now been able to exploit the weaknesses in the zone. And I guess I'll go back to something that Doc Rivers said before the game on Monday when I asked him about their zone defense. And he said, I don't think every team is built to play the zone, but you got to have a certain kind of player. And these guys now know the Pacers are going to play the zone. They're going to find the weaknesses, and you've got to be willing to, if it's not working, you've got to get out of it pretty quickly. Now, they found something last night with the box and one, and Malcolm Brogdon said that was a big reason the Pacers were successful. The one thing that I think you can point toward is they're going to be flexible. If something isn't working, everyone will see it. We see it at home. the coaches see it, they're going to switch to something different. You just have to hope that they have something available to use that can work. And to your original question, I do think Karis LeVert is one of these players that just on both ends of the floor, you put him on the court, it's going to make everybody else's job just a little bit easier. And that's one of the things that I found or just kind of thought Malcolm Brogdon has so much pressure offensively because while Justin Holiday is doing a great job defensively and he's shooting the three-pointer among the best in the league, he's not someone who can create off the dribble as much. He doesn't have as many two-point attempts, really, I think maybe like 7 or 8 in the last 6 or 7 games. So you need someone that can attack the basket, and they did lose that when Victor Oladipo was traded, and they got no one in his place. So I think Karis LeVert, offensively, defensively, if he's able to come back in the second half of the season and be the Karis LeVert that we saw in Brooklyn, I think he can really help things. But I'm not going to say one person is just magically going to fix everything. The other thing that's going to have to happen is they're going to have to continue to get better at what it is they're trying to do with these schemes.
So JJ's with us from Fox Sports Indiana on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I think a lot of the focus is on what he can't do, especially shooting the three. But because the defense, especially JJ on the perimeter, is just basically so bad most of the time, does Sumner need more clock here moving forward?
I think so. I think kind of last night to me was maybe the perfect amount because I think that, you know, like any energy player, and that's what you could have said about T.J. McConnell maybe until the last week, that you can't play him for long periods of time. You get his energy, and then you get him out. Well, as you noted, he never really gets tired. I think Edmund Sumner is an energy guy that is showing he's a better offensive player maybe than he was when he first came into the league. But I think you put him in, and you got to give him a little bit of time to get into the rhythm of the game. But I felt like last night was the perfect amount of time. He played well. He went to the bench. McConnell stayed in and played with Malcolm Brogdon. But as long as you don't have Karis LeVert, I think you're getting more personally out of Edmund Sumner than you were getting out of Aaron Holiday. So you see what you've got from Aaron Holiday early in a game, but at least defensively, his length, his athleticism, his ability to attack the basket and finish, I think Edmund Sumner's a pretty good, 7th or 8th man right now. And I even think at times it'll be interesting to see between he and Jeremy Lamb how the playing time shakes out.
Yeah, just thinking about that too. And I know most of the focus is, well, I mean, they want to shoot threes and they want to do this, but JJ, they can't stay in front of anybody. I mean, anybody on the perimeter. And it's problematic because once they get in the lane, I mean, now I think you got the advanced scouting going on, and you get a lot of teams that go right at Miles, and Miles makes a decision, and then, you know, you get cut down on the back half of that, whether it's a drive and dish for a dunk on the baseline or similar if you're going right down the middle. It just can't be that easy to get into the lane. I know we're talking about superstar ball handlers and athletes, but it just can't be as easy as what we've seen most of this year.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The other thing is, you know, Justin Holiday at times is your other, lockdown defender, and sometimes they're playing a box and one or something where he is just focused on running around and trying to contain that one primary scorer, and it's the secondary scorer that's getting into the lane or that is really getting having success against the Pacers. So I think Edmund Sumner, what we've seen consistently over the last week, if he stays healthy, continues to do what he's doing, he's earned a spot moving forward. There are always going to be these unusual games or certain matchups where maybe you'll see somebody on a particular night. Maybe it'll be a Jakar Sampson night, or maybe Goga Bitadze gets more playing time. But I think given the way that Nate Bjorkgren wants to play, Edmund Sumner is going to be vital for this team moving forward.
No doubt. Jeremiah Johnson, Fox Sports Indiana. Final game before the All-Star break is later on tonight, the second half of a back-to-back against a Denver team that is really good, really talented, a little dinged up. Certainly has been disappointing considering what all is going on around them in the Western Conference, but still as potent an offense with individual talent as you're going to find around, certainly.
I think you're surprised when you look at the standings and see that they're in 7th, but it kind of feels like the Western Conference has a top 4 and then the next 4, and they could be anywhere between 5th and 8th, I think, when all is said and done. And all you need to do is look at their most recent game. When you go to Milwaukee and Giannis plays and you beat them by 30-plus, that I think gets everyone's attention. And so Denver's had some issues with injuries. I think they had some COVID issues as well. And defensively, they're not always really good. They're also not a team that's going to play a fast-paced brand of basketball. So I'll be interested to watch to make sure that Nikola Jokic doesn't control the game. I think in recent years we've seen it where he has a really good start and sometimes he wears out a little bit. He doesn't have that TJ McConnell motor where he can go nonstop and play a ton of minutes and be just as good at the end of the game. So I'm expecting they'll get his best shot early. They'll have to try to contain him. You don't want to see him throwing passes behind his back and finding guys open for layups and knocking down three-pointers as well. But I think Sabonis, Miles Turner, they're up to the challenge. And so I think it's important because as much as we thought last night's game was must-win or one you absolutely had to have, if you take a step back and don't look good tonight, then you still really don't feel good about yourself. If you can beat the Denver Nuggets and then, follow up the McConnell Magic game with a solid win against a really good team, I think you'll feel better about your chances after the All-Star break, especially also if you think Karis LeVert is coming back at some point.
Yeah. So I saw the Shams report a little bit earlier today. So I think most people were talking about maybe that time frame for him in the first place. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Jeremy Lamb. Before he came back, there was a stretch where he was doing all the shooting drills and the non-contact. And then, after a couple of weeks or so, he was starting to do contact, and then he was ready to play. And so I do plan to ask Coach Bjorker before tonight's game. I don't think he's really updated the situation in the last week or so. So I do plan to get that question in. We'll see if we can get any update for you on Pacers Live tonight.
Last night was incredible. Individual performance-wise, I mean, it was against Cleveland, and as I mentioned, I thought it was a knock-around game, and we can certainly debate that at another time. But when you think about that individual performance, what do you think is surrounded by it? Where is that as far as Pacer history, recent Pacer history is concerned? Just that stat line in general.
Short term, yeah, we were talking as soon as the post-game show ended, and it's a game I'll never forget is the TJ Warren 53 because that was the first game in the bubble and it was the first game that we broadcast remotely. And I remember thinking before that game, Malcolm Brogdon was ruled out a couple hours before the game and you didn't have Sabonis. I said, who's going to actually score points? And Warren goes off for 53. But I had that same shake your head, I don't believe what I'm watching reaction to some of the things that TJ McConnell was doing, especially in the first half. So I guess that's the short-term comparison. Victor Oladipo had some, magical moments, end of games, but also over the course of the game, the 40-plus points. I think against Denver actually was his biggest game. And so, but just in terms of a guy that no one is expecting, he's the kind that was the comparison to Warren because when he did it in the bubble, we knew he was a good scorer, but I don't think those around the NBA thought he could go for 53. I'm not sure anybody expected TJ McConnell to be one of the leading performers on a night or to have an assist, steal, triple-double. And even earlier in the week to play 46 minutes in a game. He's the only person that's done that, I think, this season in a non-overtime game. So just what he's done in the last week shows how much he cares. And I think they've needed that and every little bit of that and more from McConnell over the last week, and they'll need it moving forward.
Yeah, I saw your kid's team was playing on Monday night up there because I was on one of the courts up there too with Laney.
Yeah, my wife was there. Unfortunately, I had a game the same time, so I admit that I was tuning into the web stream from Pacers Athletic Center at times during the 76ers game.
The fisheye. You're watching it on the fisheye, right?
Yeah, so and I'm an assistant coach, so I wasn't able to be there. So I was trying to watch everything, but they had their tournament game against Westfield, and those two teams they've played over the last 4 years probably 15 different times. So it's been fun to have the Pacers Athletic Center, and I know you've talked about the folks at Finch Creek over the last 4 years. So Preston's in sixth grade. They're winding down, but they've had a good run over the last 4 years, and they'll be playing against Saturday afternoon. So the All-Star break will be fun for me because no conflicts. We've got a championship game on Saturday at 2, and then our Indy Hoops regular season finale against Plainfield on Sunday. So it's been fun to be able to do that. Because I'm not traveling, I've been able to help coach, and I haven't missed too many games, but I did miss it on Monday, so I didn't get to see Laney in action.
Well, Mike Wells' daughter Layla is joining forces with us in the spring.
Oh, you're recruiting, huh?
Oh, well, I think they weren't going to play, and I said, well, why don't you bring Layla, and she can play with us, and we're practicing in and around the south side. We're going to the Duke Farm Barn later on tonight to do a couple of things. So, yeah, we're just shout out to Mike Duke, by the way, for allowing us to do that. He's a great dude. But we're just kind of, piecing things together and having a good time doing it, no doubt.
Well, I've got to ask because I tuned in. I was waiting for Preston's game to start, and it looked like the clock was at 0 and someone was shooting technical free throws. So did something get out of hand there at the end of the game?
You saw that, did you?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And yeah, my Laney, my daughter, Yeah, they're up by, I don't know, 10 or something like that. And she doesn't know that when she gets a steal not to go, so she was going and kind of got a two-hand shove out of bounds onto the cement and into the bleachers. And she got awarded 2 technical free throws with no time left because of that. But yeah, the good thing about it is, I mean, she's in fifth. She had no idea what it meant. I think she thought it was kind of fun, to be honest. But there was no harm. No harm, no foul. And I'm not the type. I don't run out there and go, "Oh, what happened?" I just kind of sat there and watched her slide across the cement and go, "Well, that's what you're getting into if you're playing." So good luck. But yeah, that is why. That was.
I just texted.
That was her at the free throw line. Yeah.
Said that was there a technical? So I was hoping there was nothing with the officials because I know they've got a tough job to do.
They do, and I felt bad for the other girl because I know she was frustrated and feeling like that really sucks. And yeah, I completely. Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of sat there and just watched her. Literally, she was less than 10 feet in front of me, and she slid across the floor and onto the cement and over near me in the bleachers there. And she didn't really know what was going on. But that's why the nobody on the floor free throws were shot at the end of the game.
Gotcha, because I knew it wasn't close, and there was no time on the clock, so I wasn't quite sure what happened, and I wasn't even sure it was Laney, but I figured I'd get to the bottom of it.
It was definitely Laney. Definitely Laney. So, but nope, nobody was mad. Everybody was cool, and especially the dad of Laney wasn't mad because I've been pissed before too. So you don't want that to happen. I certainly wouldn't want it to happen.
We just got to teach her the victory formation when you got to know when to take it.
And she just kind of went, and I was going, and I don't say anything other than like I'm like the hype guy. I go, yeah, let's go like that. I don't say anything else. Right. And I did it this time. I go, hey, go ahead and pull back or whatever. And she doesn't get it. She doesn't know. So. She's going.
I think there was a foul. I say no harm, no foul. But it's a good memory.
It is. I'm not glad you noticed that, but I'm glad I could explain it and it doesn't sound as bad as it wasn't bad at all. Just what happens sometimes. So I get it. Everybody gets it.
At least you weren't the one getting a technical, because that's the other problem. Like people kind of recognize me at times. So when I am helping coach, I do have liberty to question a call, but I got to be a little bit careful because I do respect the work of the officials. But I don't need anybody getting upset with me.
The only thing that is worse than being an official, because at least they get paid, is running the clock. Because you don't get paid and you get yelled at too. So that's the only thing that's worse.
And you paid to get in.
You pay to get in to get yelled at by, and I've run the clock like 3 or 4 different times, and I forget to start it all the time, and so I get yelled at.
Trust me, I'm about 6 years into that experience as well. I want my $5 back, but I understand.
It's great. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the game later on tonight, and enjoy your time off coming up for the All-Star break.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
JJ's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I do. I love being around him, though. It's my favorite time of the week is doing that. It is pure joy. Even when I get yelled at when I'm not starting the clock on time. Pure joy. Quick one, Mike Chappell in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's do some calls. I've got plenty of time between now and Mike. Anything goes in the 6 o'clock hour. 239-1070 is the number. This is 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Kids, tell your parents about Form's Sprout of the Month contest where you could win $100 in a Sprout account. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. My vasectomy at Urology of Indiana was simple and took only about 15 minutes. Soon after, I was out the door and on my way home. During my recovery, I took ibuprofen and was back in my office in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They are pros at what they do, and they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball.
Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Hey, it's John for Connecticut Water. Problem water affects, everything around your home. The smell, the taste, you know that, right? But also it can affect the appliances and even the pipes in your home. So what happens? You got to get the best, and that's Connecticut. That's why Connecticut has partnered with Mike Holmes. You know who that is? Professional contractor, television personality. That Mike Holmes. And he's going to help make your water right. So get some of the great water that Mike and I and Kristen Airy all have in our home thanks to Connecticut and Joe, John, and Dennis with a limited time offer. Take $1,200 off your purchase of a Premier Series water softener and a K5 drinking water station. It's a game changer for you. It is. Get that deal today. 2 locations, Northeast Side, Castleton, South Side, US 31 and South Fort Road. The Connecticut Water app. Download that to your smartphone or device today or online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. My vasectomy at Urology of Indiana was simple and took only about 15 minutes. Soon after, I was out the door and on my way home. During my recovery, I took ibuprofen and was back in my office in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They are pros at what they do, and they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball.
Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Whether you're ready for your COVID-19 vaccine or looking for the right testing options for your family, our Kroger Health team of pharmacists and nurse practitioners are here to help. Our suite of solutions is one of the most comprehensive in the industry, trusted by frontline workers around the country. Visit Kroger.com/COVIDcare to learn more and schedule an appointment at a Kroger store near you.
First comes love. Then comes sparkle. And that's where Diamonds Direct comes in. Engagement ring shopping is so easy at Diamonds Direct. Step 1, choose your perfect diamond. At Diamonds Direct, you get access to one of the largest selections of certified diamonds in America, straight from the diamond cutters. Every shape, every size, everyone handpicked for brilliance. Step 2, choose your setting. Something unique, something that fits your style, your personality. Solitaire, halo, 3-stone, pave, channel set. And don't worry if you've seen it on Pinterest, we have it. From all the top designers in bridal jewelry. Step 3, relax. Your Diamonds Direct engagement ring comes with a free lifetime warranty. That's no charge ever for sizing, cleaning, and routine maintenance. And at every step along the way, you'll be treated with respect, with zero pressure, by experts whose only goal is to make you happy. So you'll be all set for step 4, the most important one. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Indianapolis Colts, Keystone at the Crossing.
Place your legal sports bets at BetRivers.com, your new home for sports betting. Millions of betting options a year on the sports you love. We offer live in-game betting on major sporting events worldwide. Tons of bets available during games, from money lines, prop bets, and many more. Use one of our 12 easy deposit methods to get in on the action. And when you win, we offer fast and reliable withdrawals. Sign up now, and we'll match your first deposit up to $250. More bets, better odds, more action. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now, save up to $150 off Nito, Toyo, or Pirelli tires. Only at Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Friday Fan Morning Show features Ball State Hoops coach James Whitford and the Cardinals run in the MAC tournament. Kevin Bowen's got the latest on Colts, and we'll recap Pacers Nuggets. Fan Morning Show every weekday morning at 7.
The Ride with JMV.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The Jeremiah Johnson Fox Sports Indiana podcast is up at 1075thefan.com. Saw him play last night. Actually closed out the game for him last night. Dylan Windler of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the former Perry Meridian high school product, will join us coming up on tomorrow's show. Mike Wells tomorrow. Bob Lovell tomorrow. We had LN and Cathedral last night. The games have been good around here in sectional play. We'll hit up level with all that information. And Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, coming up tomorrow on the 5 o'clock hour as well. IU and Purdue coming up on Saturday. Quick shout out to Paulie C., Paul Casaro, my man Mike Burris, assistant coach down on the south side. UND in the quarterfinals upset Truman State. Truman State was second ranked, I believe, right? Last night. So we talked to Paul Casaro about that earlier in the week, and they got the job done last night. So congratulations to UND, Paulie C. and Burris, Roosevelt Jones, and all the players down there. Great win. Fantastic. Shout out to Marion as well. That's all Scott Hetty does is win. Good night. All right, let me take a break. Get right with the clock here. Randall and Donald, you guys lead. I got a 4 o'clock hour that's wide open for everybody at 239-1070. A variety of things we'll get into, including the offseason with the Colts. As free agency officially approaches, how loose should the proverbial purse strings be? And how much do you like the team? I mean, obviously, you got the left tackle situation. You got an edge rushing situation, cornerback situation. How loose in free agency should those strings be? Is the wallet officially out of the pocket? This is not Jim Irsay. His wallet be out of the pocket. Chris Ballard's not so much. That and more with IU Purdue hoops coming up in hour number 2 next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Because a lot of people look at this as low risk. I couldn't disagree with that more. This is a risk. If this goes off the rails and Carson Wentz plays the entire season, now all of a sudden you are giving away your first-round pick in 2022. And now you have a very internal question about, is Carson Wentz ever going to be back to wherever you think he can get to?
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Weekday mornings at 7
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Don't confuse basketball madness with haircut madness. Get to Lady Jane's in Greenwood and ask for the King's treatment. Lady Jane's in Greenwood on State Road 135 just north of Smith Valley Road. It's wicked awesome.
Make plans to attend the free leadership webinar next Monday, March 8th for leadership advice and a preview of the college basketball tournament. You'll hear tips for building your success from Butler University Athletics Director Barry Collier, who will inspire you with the Butler Way, the business of college sports and leadership tips. Gear up for college basketball by learning Butler's plans for the tournament. RSVP at WIBC.com. Events. Attendance is limited. Presented by Bosma Visionary Opportunities Foundation. Register for this free webinar next Monday, March 8th at WIBC.com.
Hey, JMV here, and one of the things I love about betting on basketball is I'm always finding new player props or game props that I really do like, and that's what is really cool about FanDuel Sportsbook. You can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. So you want to know what it's called? Certainly, hopefully you guys know by now. Same game parlay. It's a same game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel Sportsbook. I mean, in the same game, you can take point spread, money line, first basket scored, player assists, rebounds, three-pointers, steals. Steals would have been a blast last night, right? Same game parlay is what it's called, and right now, not just new users, but existing users, if you follow me with FanDuel Sportsbook here, you can get up to $25 in site credit back each day if your parlay falls one leg short. Same game parlay insurance is what it's called. You heard it right. Same game parlay insurance. Right now, new and existing users with FanDuel Sportsbook. Use the promo code JMV. Make sure you tell them where and who you heard it from. FanDuel Sportsbook promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's Big Joe, and there's a lot of great things about this time of the year with the weather warming up. You've got flowers starting to bloom and leaves are coming out on the trees and that. But you know what? The one thing about this time of year I absolutely hate is the fact that it's pothole season. Man, those potholes are a pain. Turns you into a Grand Prix driver out there on the roads. Well, if you need a little bit of help, obviously call your politician to get those things fixed. But in the meantime, in case you happen to hit one of those potholes, I sure hope you have AAA. A AAA membership gives you the peace of mind that no matter where you are car or what kind of driving conditions you encounter, if you have any kind of car trouble whatsoever, all you have to do is call 844-GO-AAA-GO. That's 844-GO-AAA-GO, or go to AAA.com. And when you call, make sure you get that quote for AAA's auto, home, and life insurance, because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA. And with spring break coming up, that peace of mind that you and your family are taken care of out there on the roads is absolutely priceless. AAA.com or 844-GO-AAA-GO.
Every play is a play to bet on. Whether it's who scores next, a three-pointer, or a free throw, it could be the play that matters to you. So bet live at Unibet Sportsbook. Live betting options for every moment of the game. Sign up today and get $250 in risk-free bets. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, WIBC, HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Jeremiah Johnson last hour. Pacers, Nuggets tonight. TJ McConnell last night. There's a lot of frustration from fans right now, and rightly so. I mean, even after the win last night, with how this thing has played out in the past week and a half to a couple of weeks, frustration with the players. I mean, I get the normal kind of Miles stuff. Frustration with the coach, Nate Bjorkgren. Yeah, frustration with the front office. You know, what you should do, be a seller, take your foot off the gas, hope for a high draft selection. That's just not how they've operated in the past, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's what they're going to do. JMV, that documentary on Bird where the coach said that late in the game they were all waiting with bated breath for the dagger 3. That was me last night, watching late in the game for McConnell's 10th steal. Yeah, and he got that. He knocked the ball away. That was a big moment. I think they went up 4 on that steal, too. BT Dew says the Pacers should be sellers at the trade deadline. I haven't seen anything out of them to make me feel any different. And I'm not suggesting last night was going to turn the table of your thought on, hey, all of a sudden now that they can win. But last night was going to be an incredibly embarrassing loss. T. Shaw says, I refuse to work the scoreboard in basketball and be a line judge in CYO volleyball due to getting owned. Luckily for me, I don't give a crap. I mean, I just come on here and tell you, I may stop the clock. I may move around fouls. And if you want to change that, then just bring your ass over here and you do it. Because I really don't want to do it. I'm just doing it because I'm up there and my daughter's playing. If you don't want me to fudge on things, then you come over here and you do it. Otherwise, zip it. Because it's not that big of a deal. You're not going to remember next week. You're not going to remember in 2 weeks. You're not going to remember in 6 months. It doesn't matter. Growth of the player, the enjoyment of the sport. I'm not suggesting I have all the answers, but there's no way my daughter's going to go, well, you remember that time back in 5th grade when? That's no way. So let's all stop being jackasses, shall we? It's like anybody's going to listen to me on that. I quite enjoy running the school, but I like standing up. Hey, you can come over here and do it then. Well, wait a minute. That girl should have 8 fouls. Well, she should, but I'm keeping the book. If you want her to have 6 fouls, and you come over here and keep it. Hey, JMV, so I guess you could say the Cavaliers are a bad team, But every time I fire up the league pass, I see them in a close game. They always seem to play hard and compete and have beaten some of the best teams. And Mike is right about that, especially recently. And besides McConnell's play, uplifting them, and some execution late in the game last night, Darius Garland going out was a big deal. I mean, and that might have played the most significant role because all of a sudden they don't have a second legitimate scoring option. To me, what may have changed the game was JaVale McGee. Did you guys see the JaVale McGee attempt at a Euro step last night? That was awesome. I need more of that. I mean, I was sitting around waiting for the JaVale McGee Euro step opportunity all night. It was awesome. I think that the Pacers are a player away, and I fully expect the Pacers to have a tough game on their hands last night. Oh, check that. I'm sorry. I think the Cavaliers are a player away, and the Pacers to have a tough game on their hands last night because the Pacers just aren't really very good. I think we've seen that. And you're right. You're all right. I am shortchanging the Cavaliers. It was an ugly game, but all that doesn't matter now because it was a win, and even in that ugly game, we saw an incredible individual performance. That was far from ordinary. Seven says, nothing like posting a foul on a kid that hasn't played yet. Oh, they're all playing. That's how I can move them around, you know. JMV, how about some love for the Lady Hoosiers, highest ranking ever? That's something I got going on in hoopage down there. The Lady Hoosiers, Allie Patberg shout out. They got that going on. What they don't have going on is what they need to have going on. And if it's not going to go on now, then likely it's not going to go on next year. So other than financially, why do you let it go on any longer if you don't make the NCAA tournament? That is the question. Now, we talked to Rab Johns about that yesterday. That's pretty funny. I can't imagine. Hey, JMV, don't forget that TJ McConnell was 8 for 8 from the field. He indeed was. That was pretty awesome. Hey, JMV, if Denver blows it on Von Miller and he becomes a free agent, it doesn't look like they're going to blow it on Von Miller. I'm not sure. I would guess that he goes back, but even though that the Colts are seriously interested in J.J. Watt, it would surprise me if Von Miller is going to be their choice here. It would really surprise me. Steve in San Antonio, Texas. All right, we got some calls. Let's do it at 239-1070. By the way, on the lounge on YouTube Live, if you guys are yip-yapping in there, that's fantastic. Giving me free agent wide receiver ideas. That is always good. I mean, anything free agent-wise is always good inside the lounge on YouTube Live. You guys can go there and discuss as well. Randall is up first today. Hello, Randall. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Randall, I'm fantastic. I appreciate you asking.
Hey, looks like we got some hope. Pacers played with some hustle last night. Austin McConnell outdid all of them.
Right.
I think I'd put him in the starting lineup. And
no
go
doubt.
From there.
Yep.
I keep asking about this guy. He's played for the Pacers before. He's definitely one of my favorites. And, the Pacers don't want to blow up and try to rebuild. That's not them. They want to try to take what they got and make a few changes and hopefully, progress. What do you think about near the end of the signing period where they can put somebody else on the team? What do you think about them if they are in position to make the playoffs? I don't know if he's under contract or not from China. What do you think about them picking up Lance Stevenson?
I think he's playing. Is he playing G League right now? Is that where Lance? I think Lance is playing G League right now. I don't. Where is he in the G League right now, Kyle? I just I don't see don't see any of that,
Can
man.
they claim it?
I don't see.
Can they claim it?
I don't know. I don't know where he is in the G League right now, Randall.
Send out smoke signals.
What? I don't know. Where is he in the G League right now? Is he? He may not be in the G League. So yeah, if he's not on somebody's roster under somebody's guidance, it would. So you suggest this would be a difference maker? Why?
I think he's old school ball player. I think he's not afraid to get up in somebody's face and defend. Obviously, Preston Thompson ain't his big fan after he took him down the floor the way he did. Yeah, I'd sign him. You can get him cheap. He's like 29 years old. He's not an old dog. He's still a young pup. I'd pick him up.
All right, Randall, thank you very much. I've said this before, and I've been wrong before regarding Lance. I remember I famously said the ship has sailed there. I would think the ship has long left the dock on this.
I'm not finding him on the G League.
I thought that he was playing in the G League somewhere.
I don't think he's playing anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he is. So, yeah, they're free to sign him, I guess. Yeah, I can't see it, everybody. And listen, I enjoyed him just like everybody else. But you guys knew Randall was going to suggest Lance, right? So this says his current team is still he's not playing in China anymore, right?
There was a report a few months ago before the G League started up. They're bubbled up in Orlando again.
I thought he was here somewhere too, so I don't know.
There was reports that he was going to sign with the G League.
I don't
know if he ever did.
JMV, thoughts on signing cornerback Shaq Griffin? I think Shaq Griffin's really good. I wonder if he's going to be too high of a price tag, block by block. That'd be my first thought right there. Hey, JMV, this season is a wash, but do you have a local sports show? So I guess you have to talk about it. Pacers. Yeah, I don't. Why wouldn't I? I love the NBA. I enjoy watching the Pacers, but I definitely will talk about it. I talk about what's interested to people around here. JMV, people can say what they want about Warren and LeVert being out, but it's my belief that this team with Sabonis, Brogdon, and Turner all healthy and starting should be better than what we have seen. I think that's where a lot of frustration among the fan base is coming from. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think Casey and Ellettsville, there is any question about that's where some of the frustration comes from. Because I get people asking me, like Greg just asked me, do you think this team would be playing better under Nate McMillan than it is under Nate Bjorkgren? That, to me, is a tough call. Maybe certainly they would play better defense, you would think, with both, let's say, McMillan and Dan Burke here. You would suggest the defense be better? Certainly not as exotic as we have seen. But, again, you're probably going to lose something on the other side, and part of that loss is the simple fact that a lot of the team didn't want to play for him. And I've said this all along. I mean, this team, guys on this team wanted that change. And I know that some of these efforts have been disappointing, and you should feel that way. And I've said this, there's a promo that's running right now where I say if you just take care of, I think everybody expected them just to try to stay even and stay in it until they get guys back, but they have blown games that they should have won. They have blown games that you couldn't afford to lose. And I know it's disappointing because when they play good teams, it's not a good outcome, and that's a hell of a gauge. There's no doubt about that. But just to try to stay, and I know they're still within striking distance because everything else can kind of get gummed up as well, but they should be in a better spot just by virtue of taking care of what they should. That, to me, is the most disappointing. That Chicago game on a Monday night in a snowstorm, disappointing. Golden State game last week, disappointing. The Knicks last week, disappointing. So that's what stands out more than anything else to me. Granted, I don't know. It's tough to call what they have because you don't really know what they have without their main dudes out there. But against teams that they should beat, when you don't, that's the most disappointing aspect about this to me. That's where it all starts. JMV, I know Brogdon is a good guy, but he's too ball dominant. Wouldn't be mad if they looked to ship him out. And see, that's kind of what happens when you got a team that's going sideways. I mean, think about what we'd be talking about had they lost last night. There'd be absolutes. This is just, oh, by the way, I'm not a big fan of Brogdon, even though last night Brogdon, had 29 on 12 of 15, I think, from the floor. The defense is what really concerns me because the Cavaliers, especially last night with that crew, and they had, a 33-point quarter? And when you think about it, down the stretch, Cavaliers are in a much better position last night if they kind of did themselves in. Some ridiculous unforced turnovers late. But it's tough to really know what you have. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes LeVert to even get back into it once he does return. I think the problem that you're going to have here is you really have to gauge or think, all right, how much of an effect will TJ Warren have on this team if he doesn't get back until May? Because decisions will be made by then. I mean, does just the simple effect of LeVert help you out? And people ask me, so what is this team? What is this team offensively? Good question. Against good teams, normally not very good. Last night you closed. They got a little bit of help. In New York, you didn't. But the major focus with this team was surviving until some guys get back. If you're going to pull the trigger on that deal for Vic, just being able to keep your head above water until LeVert gets back and certainly until Warren gets back. But, Warren is definitely a longer-term proposition here. But they haven't done that very well, and especially recently. I mean, you can look at their defensive numbers, and we talked about last week about how on the perimeter against the three they were getting better, but they were around early 20s, which is not good. We talk about the perimeter defense all the time. It seems like every team really gets easy stuff against them. I mean, really. And again, I don't think Lance Stevenson is the answer to any of that. Can you imagine Lance Stevenson without a home crowd? I just can't imagine it anyway. Yeah, people ask me too. People say, why do people continue to bring up Lance Stevenson? Because, I mean, even in losing, you enjoyed watching him. I mean, you enjoyed watching him play. I mean, he was such a wild card, you enjoyed watching it. You as a fan, you fed off of his energy, win or lose. So I get it, but it's not happening. Thank you, Randall, for the call, though. Donald is up next talking IU Hoop. Hello, Donald. How are you?
How you doing, man?
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, well, I'm kind of thinking, man, given that the tournament, they're going to play it in Central Indiana this year, don't you just kind of feel like they're going to find some way to get this bad IU team in the field?
No, I don't. I don't have that feeling at all. Because I don't think this bad IU team is going to give them enough reason to put them in the field. That's the entire part of the problem. I mean, listen, the metrics, up until this stretch here, you still had them in. I mean, you had the opportunity on Tuesday night, and you blow that. I just don't think IU is going to give them, Donald, any sort of reason to put them in, to leave out somebody that maybe by record-wise in a smaller conference may, by virtue of that alone and those stats, be a more viable option. I just don't think they're going to give anybody the opportunity to do that.
I mean, they snub those small conference teams all the time for these bad teams like the IU,
No, there's no doubt. And that's going to happen this year, too. It just won't be IU, but it'll be other teams, go, well, wait a minute. I mean, Michigan State's, that possibility. Larger, Power 5 conferences are going to have more of an opportunity, and there may even be more snubs than usual in this pandemic type of year when everything's being held here. But IU has to give them a reason to legitimately think about them. And unfortunately for IU and their fans, maybe fortunately for those that don't want Archie around next year, that team has not given them a reason to do that.
But I say go ahead and, let's see it. Put them out there, put that final nail in Archie's coffin when they go up against Our Lady of Snow School for the Blind and lose by 15. Let's do it.
I mean, Purdue may end up doing that on Saturday afternoon, Donald. So.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, Purdue may do that. Hey, Donald, thank you for the call. Purdue may do that. How much being winless against Purdue, if they lose that game on Saturday, being firmly outside of any consideration for the NCAA tournament and barring some incredible, not going to happen NCAA tournament run, how much of a nail could Purdue provide for Archie Miller on Saturday?
I think it has to be the nail.
Unless financially you just can't do it. Because to me, that'd be the only reason.
If IU loses on Saturday versus Purdue, I think they probably have to almost win the Big Ten tournament to make it in.
Yeah. I don't think it's in question. Yeah. I think if they beat Purdue, but if something happens, they go out beat Purdue on Saturday, maybe a longer run in the Big Ten Conference tournament gives them more consideration. But right now, I mean, outside of some minor miracle, and, part of that minor miracle would be, an Archie Miller coach team beating Purdue for the first time, at Mackey. Without fans, but at Mackey. So good luck with it. JMV, do the Colts have any spots open for their TikTok squad? Juju is a free agent, too. I think we've already discussed Juju Smith-Schuster and thought, nah. You think he's thrilled with Ben Roethlisberger coming back for another year? Does he want to now come back? Or more so want to just leave by virtue of Roethlisberger
He's probably
coming
looking
back?
to leave. And the Steelers won't be able to offer him the most money.
Yeah,
no way.
No doubt. Hey, JMV, always a great show. 2 words, Dane Fife, make it happen. I'm emailing every day until you make this happen. Hey, listen, I tried 4 years ago. I touted him 4 years ago. Fred didn't give him an interview. I don't think gave him a time of day. Not even a verbal pat on the back. I know you still have questions. I mean, with anything, you're going to have questions. I'm normally not like this either, where you really need to hire from within and all this, but it seems like you've been with this basketball program forever now, down all these different avenues. It seems like now somebody that knows it better, somebody that's been through it, somebody that's been inside that program. And see, a lot of people look at that as a lazy, lame argument, but it's not. It's reality. Because we've seen what has happened leading up to this point. So to me, that is and should be a legit option. I mean, if that job's open, Dane should be a legit option. You're going to hear Steve Alford's name again.
Here's a big name receiver who's had not a good career, but some good stats before that just was released. Josh Gordon. Take a flyer on Josh Gordon?
Yeah, come on, man. I was all getting fired up. Okay, now I'm going to tease this. I can't tease that. Josh Gordon, huh?
He had that awesome run, and it was almost 2014. So it was a while
He can't
ago.
stay on anybody's team.
But if they make weed legal, he'll be good to go, right?
Well, I'm all for that. I'm not a user either, but I just start making some money off of it. We'll be the last state to ever think about doing that. I got acreage ready to rock too, baby. I don't know if people view me any differently. I guess people think because I say that or suggest that I'm some big pot guy. I'm not a big pot guy at all. I wouldn't want to smoke I guess there are a variety of ways you can do it, but that stuff has put me to sleep, and it put me to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. That's the first thing I realized, man. I don't want to go to a party where I have a bunch of my friends where I, pass out or doze off because the results are not going to be good for you. I love my friends and all, but, man, no way. But financially, everybody, like what certainly we have seen with the sports betting thing has been incredible. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it until somebody proves me otherwise. Seems like that's much better to try to make money off of it, and surrounding states and other states have done that. Certainly much better to make money off of it than ultimately trying to find and prosecute for it, but who am I? And that is not a tangent, by the way. That was just legitimately brought up to me by Kyle Udemark. Thank you. All right, more of your calls. I got Al who wants to talk about Pacer ownership. I know where that call's going. Al, we'll get to you on the other side. Curtis is also coming up. Mike Chappell, top of the hour. We'll talk about hard targets. At left tackle, for sure going to be a draft selection. Maybe not at 21, but if they trade back, if there are a number of dudes they like or one they like that is going to be lower than 21, you would have to think that if you don't end up moving, which it doesn't look like they will, Nelson from left guard to left tackle, that because how much money you're going to end up paying that offensive line, you couldn't afford to bring in a heavy-hitting free agent left tackle. You would think that left tackle is either going to have to be moving Nelson left guard to left tackle or drafting somebody. And as I mentioned in the past, maybe even Jared Veldy or somebody like that you've had trust and you have seen still has something left. If you bring in a rookie, somebody that would be an adequate backup if things aren't ready to roll yet. Being prepared, certainly more so than they were prepared a year ago with that position of Anthony Costanzo being backed up by LaRaven Clark. Be a lot of money in the offensive line if a lot of you suggest going out and getting a free agent left tackle. I don't see it. To me, the only way you free up 21 to be anything else but a left tackle, wherever you might draft, whatever may happen to 21, the only way you free that up is if you're moving left guard to left tackle. All right, your calls and more coming up on the other side. Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live. This is 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Don't confuse basketball madness with haircut madness. Get to Lady Jane's in Greenwood and ask for the King's treatment. Lady Jane's in Greenwood on State Road 135 just north of Smith Valley Road. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, it's JMV. One of the things I love about betting on basketball is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I really do like, and that's what's so cool about FanDuel Sportsbook. You can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. It's called a same-game parlay bet, and you can only find it at FanDuel Sportsbook. You can take points, rebounds, assists, money line, just so many different ways to go. Player three-pointers, steals, and blocks. It is endless, and it is fun. And right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 in site credit back each day if your parlay falls one leg short with the same game parlay insurance. You've heard it right. Every day with FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code JMV. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit. Expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Well, the install all of your new Anderson 400 series windows is done. They look great. Piece of cake to install. I have them in my own home.
We love them, John.
Beautiful. They really last, so you won't be needing me to fix anything either. This is probably goodbye. Take care.
That was a tough goodbye. Worse than when the kids went to college.
I love our windows, but John was our contractor.
Anderson 400 series are the windows contractors trust most. Learn more at andersonwindows.com. 2020 Anderson brand survey of U.S. contractors. Visit andersonwindows.com for warranty details.
Hey, JMV, hey, peace of mind is what we're talking about. You may not have any plumbing issues right now. Nothing. But the peace of mind of knowing if something goes haywire, and because you're not going to get any consideration that your plumbing is all of a sudden problematic. I mean, there's not going to write you a note, or there's going to be no buzzer saying, uh-oh, something's wrong. It's just going to hit you out of nowhere. You're going to be sideswiped, and you're going to want the absolute best having your back, and that's LD Smith Plumbing at 317-284-9526. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com, a local company, large or small emergency jobs, 24/7, 365. And I can tell you from experience, 2 weeks ago on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m., all of a sudden I wake up, we have no water. Within an hour, Lance has a team member down making sure our water was back on. And I'm out of there by noon. I'm at a Laney ball game, and I appreciate that very much. That is peace of mind knowing that I don't have to freak out. It's not going to be a hassle, and I don't have to lose it if something in my plumbing system goes wrong, because I have Lance and his team at LD Smith Plumbing. 317-284-9526. Right now, you mention my name to Lance and LD Smith Plumbing, and you will get $50 off any service. That's $50 off any service just by mentioning my name. 317-284-9526 online. That's ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Small business owners, is your internet making office tasks painfully slow? Are your file upload speeds sluggish? Are your video calls choppy? You need more speed. AT&T Business Fiber gives you up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. Faster upload speeds mean smoother, less glitchy video conferencing and faster file transfers. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST to get our best price on our best service. Imagine it, up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. AT&T experts can help you upgrade to AT&T Business Fiber. Soon, you're going to love your internet. Call 844-661-FAST now. Comparison by Telogical Systems, 12-2020.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled, and with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. The third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, as unique, special, and rare as every diamond in our showcase. Official jeweler of the Indianapolis Colts, Keystone at the Crossing.
The non-stop action of tennis takes center court at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers serves up an exciting tennis betting experience like no other, with a massive number of live in-game betting options, including point-by-point betting. But don't just bet on the game live. Watch it live. Bet Rivers Sportsbook live streams a huge number of tour events from around the world throughout the tennis season. Try it today, and Bet Rivers will match your first deposit up to $250. It's a winner. Bet on tennis at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Go now to betrivers.com. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8444.
Last year, our average client received almost $40,000 at closing from an easy cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
The Ride with JMV.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a I want you to be nice.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Jeremiah Johnson a little bit earlier. Fox Sports Indiana, the Pacers and the Nuggets later on tonight. What is that? 8 o'clock start, 7:30 pregame show. 7:30 on Fox Sports Indiana for the fellas. TJ McConnell, a triple-double that including steals last night. One of the more incredible performances you will see in a game that was not the most well-played, but incredibly important for the Pacers to win. I had it in a DEFCON 3 must-win situation last night. Heath writes this: if IU loses to Purdue, then loses the first Big Ten game, how do you even consider keeping him? I mean, even with the finances. Well, we talked about yesterday the Rab Johns, it would end up being $10 million, but then up until he gets another gig, right? $10 million, then he gets another gig, and then not anymore. Damn, JMV, I think Kyle may be high for suggesting Josh Gordon. I think he was just doing that in jest. His suggestion was in jest. Correct?
Well, I figured, a couple of years ago, I still vividly remember after the KC playoff loss a couple of years ago, you were all in on going after Antonio Brown. So I figured maybe you'd like a guy like Josh Gordon.
And then somebody got on me last year because I was no longer all in on going after Antonio Brown.
That was before all of his legal issues that we've had
a lot
recently.
YouTube Live, The Lounge. Jason B says, JMV doesn't smoke because he calls it pot. I'm going back to that old PSA. It's just a little pot. It's just a little pot. So people that puff and pass don't call it pot. They just call it weed or smoke or tree, lettuce. What do they call it? So that was my tell. There's no way JMV smokes pot because he calls it pot. Electric lettuce. Griff Pope says so many strains now don't need to be asleep. Oh, are there different strains? Yeah, I don't. Listen, I will say this. I'm in for taking anything that takes knee pain away. I'm down with that program. I guess I'd have to do some studies on this strain. I don't know that. Griff, you're going to have to, I think, give me the different strains in order. Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live. John R. Sherrill says, man, number 8 and 5th grade girls kicked our butts the other night for the championship ring. No, number 8. Number 8's got to shoot it better. I love being there with number 8, though. Number 8's fun. Number 8 dives and stuff, and number 8's pretty fun. I just like it, man. That's one thing. Like, you're not going to remember, who won this and who won a championship, or you're not going to remember any of this crap, nor will it ever matter. But you are making memories. I am making memories. I love being around my daughter just like I would being around my son. I love being around their friends, their teammates. That's what I will remember the most. I'm not going to remember if he beat Carmel or Fishers or HSE or Brownsburg. I will remember getting tossed out of the Brownsburg gym by the Pike AD. I'll remember that. Especially when I didn't do anything to deserve it. And the guy acted like a jackass. I'll remember that, but I'm not going to. All this other stuff is just going to be about being there. Hey, listen, sometimes I have to talk myself into that, though. I mean, there have been times in the past where, hey, I want to go, I'm wagging the finger. Well, this is what you got to do. And, giving that big-time speech in the car ride on the way home. And then you kind of understand that all that does is make it worse. So now I am just there, baby. I'm finding gym time. I'm putting girls together, and we're having a good time, and I'm not going to make it anything more than just that. Curtis Weaver says, I call it pot, and I ain't no fuddy-duddy. God, you guys are fantastic, man. Hey, JMV, the strains are like pulling out a chemistry elements chart. I did not perform well in chemistry. I did not. Griff says, sativa for all your daytime use. I would not know that stuff. 239-1070. I owe some phone calls here. Appreciate you. Curtis is up next. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, JMV. I want to talk about the Pacers, but where do I start? Man, there is so many problems that they have.
There are issues. Yep, no doubt.
So many people call in about Miles, but Miles is not the problem. When you think about it, you know, I'm old school, and I look at it from a old school perspective. We have too many two guards on our team. T.J. McConnell is our true point guard.
Right.
And when Malcolm is running the show, he's slow. He slows down the tempo, and he doesn't see clearly when to pass to the open man. That's why he plays a two-man game with Sabonis.
And let me tell you this, and this is why you're right about this too, Curtis. If you watched that game last night, there were three different, in the second half, I think alone, three different moments when they didn't get a shot off because of either a late Malcolm ball-dominant shot or a late Malcolm pass, in which one was a Turner three that was a smidge too late. I would tend to agree with that. He scored 29, and he shot it really well. I do get that. But what you're talking about is not wrong.
And, you know, I mean, they don't have the athletes, like you said before, so we can't really get out on the three-point shooters. So that's the problem that we have. We don't have any athletes, and we don't play defense. So we want to score. You know, we look at the teams today, you want to score, but if you don't play any defense, what good is it?
Yeah, and listen, and Curtis, I appreciate your call. Call again anytime. This is not me just blindly defending Miles, because I don't do that. I mean, I give you what is going on. I mean, Miles got worked over on Monday night by Joel Embiid. I told you I was hoping for maybe a hangnail for Embiid so he'd have to sit. Did you see Embiid, by the way, last night whenever Donovan Mitchell got thrown out? Acting like a jackass. I don't know. What?
Oh, I loved it.
You like? I like Donovan.
Like Embiid. I love Embiid.
I can't stand, and it's not because he works over Miles, because he worked over even more so Rudy Gobert last night. It's not even that. He's full of jackassery, and he hadn't won anything. Nothing. I mean, to me, he kind of acts like he's won something. He's won nothing. I mean, it's been a victory in Philly if he's been healthy. Am I wrong about that? Or am I just pissed because he does work over Miles, and then basically he told him so on Monday night?
I don't think you can put it all on him that they haven't won. I mean, they've been going up against some good teams. They should have beat that Kawhi Leonard team in 2019.
Yes, Kawhi Leonard's
they should have beat
three
that.
from the corner that bounced around.
They should have gone on to the conference finals that year. They've had some bad luck, and
I do not like him.
But
I feel confident in not liking him.
I feel like he cares so much, and I kind of like that trash talk. You know, you saw that in the 90s and the early 2000s, and now guys are too buddy-buddy, and
I'd agree with
just
that.
Doesn't care, and I like that.
I just think, but even in the 80s and the 90s, there was still, when you had that type of back and forth, non-buddy-buddy AAU kind of angle going on, somebody was always the bad guy. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was always a bad guy in that. To me, he's the bad guy. I think he's a jackass.
I guess, like, you think he's the bad guy.
I do.
I think he's the good guy.
Right. But, I mean, back in the 90s, there was always a bad guy. I mean, a lot of people thought Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason were the bad guys. But to Knicks fans, they're the good guys. I just happen to think Embiid is clownish and thinks that he has accomplished something that he has yet to even sniff.
I think if
the
Embiid,
accomplishments being healthy.
If Embiid was on the Pacers, we would all absolutely love him. So I get that. But he's on a rival team against a guy who tortures Miles Turner every time they play.
See, you guys don't even have to do that because he just did that. By the way, too, and I'm not blindly defending Miles, but let me tell you this. As a shot blocker, as a post defender, as a paint defender, you got no chance. More times than not, you are going to look bad if your guy easily out front gets around whomever that might be, whether it's Brogdon or one of the Holidays, McConnell or anybody, with ease, gets into the paint, and can either knock that teardrop down, which these guys are good enough offensively to do, or to even make it worse, drop it off. Then when you think about this, so Miles comes over to challenge somebody who has lost their man in the paint. He challenges. You get a weak side rebound, up for two or the dunk or some other form or fashion. You know, as much as obviously you want to talk about Miles being this or being that crap, and we saw a lot of that last night, it's not on him. Not on him. All right, Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Your calls until then. Anything goes in the 6 o'clock hour. This is 93.5, 107.5 at 1070 The Fan.
Tune in to the Nissan March Madness Command Center for scores, key matchups, and game times on Indy's home for sports. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Sponsored by Nissan.
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie. The type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. And the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
UFC 259 is this weekend, and DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, is putting you in the center of the title fight. Pick either main event fighter to land a punch during this weekend's UFC 259 bout, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 100-1 odds. Just bet $1 on either fighter to land a punch. If that happens, you cash $100. Don't worry if MMA isn't for you. DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on basketball, hockey, and so much more. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. All you've got to do is download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code WFNI when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if either main event fighter lands a punch on Saturday. That's code WFNI for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Got to be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's John here at Diamonds Direct, as always, at the forefront when it comes to trends and fashion. I know, forefront's not a word that I'm ever going to use, but let's describe me as such. When you think about incredible trend setting in fashion, the first thing you think about is me. I completely understand it. But what you should be thinking about with that in mind, my friends at Diamonds Direct. So away from me for a moment and just soak up the message. Whether we're talking about engagement rings, pendants, anything for that benchmark special day, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary or a graduation, just a special gift-giving idea, Diamonds Direct is coming to your rescue. And how about this? Speaking of trend setting, the popularity of fancy shaped diamonds. That's it. Fancy shapes are emerald cuts, princess cuts, ovals, pear shapes, cushion cuts. I didn't know until I talked to somebody and got that diamond education from the experts at Diamonds Direct. That's the best part about it. The selection, the warranties, the price tag. And again, it's one-stop shopping. It is going to be a place where you go and you take care of what you need. You hit that home run gift-giving idea at one place and one place only. If you're thinking about taking that relationship to the next level, you need an engagement ring, this is the one and only stop you need to make. It's Diamonds Direct, the only jeweler I recommend. That's Diamonds Direct, Keystone at the Crossing, the official jeweler of the Colts.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame invites you to Canton, Ohio this August for twice the fun in 21.
Saturday, August 7th, we are honoring the Centennial Class of 2020, which features Edgerrin James. And on Sunday, August 8th, the Class of 21, headlined by Peyton Manning, will unveil their bronze busts and share their stories of triumph and dedication that led them to Canton, Ohio. Make your plans to be at the greatest gathering in football history by visiting profootballhof.com/enshrinement for twice the fun in 21.
Hey guys, looking for a reason to spend 3 days on the couch watching basketball? Schedule your vasectomy at Urology of Indiana for a Thursday or Friday, then sit back, relax, and catch some games over the weekend while you recover. It may be the only time your wife approves of hoarding the couch and the remote control. My vasectomy at Urology of Indiana was simple and took only about 15 minutes. Soon after, I was out the door and on my way home. During my recovery, I took ibuprofen and was back in my office in 3 days. The docs at Urology of Indiana are board certified and perform vasectomies every day of the week, all year long. They are pros at what they do, and they have multiple vasectomy clinics, so chances are good there's one close to you. If you've been putting off your vasectomy, now is the time. You'll never have a better excuse to watch basketball.
Call Urology of Indiana or visit vasectomyindy.com for information and to schedule an appointment. That's vasectomyindy.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Last year, our average client saved almost $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. What would you do with an extra $300 to $400 a month? When mortgage interest rates are in the twos, you have options. Let's see how much money we can save you. The 5-minute loan approval only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
The Pacers hit the All-Star break after hosting the Denver Nuggets. Tonight at 7:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Anything goes in the 6 o'clock hour. Brian Haas says Turner only had 2 rebounds last night. He had 4 or 5 blocks, which I think is what? To a rebound, that's worth 2 rebounds. And considering, I will say this, do I wish he was a lot better? Brian, you're just a dude that will never like him no matter what. Never like him. But if you watched the game last night, you had another example about other guys out front getting their ass whipped. And that's the argument you guys make. I kind of secretly hope they do because I want to see teams score 160 on this team. Secretly, I do. Because then Brian would feel better. I don't know who you'd complain about then. Miles is a joke. He needs to be traded immediately. All right. He's a joke and needs to be. Listen, I hope so. Just go ahead and let the snake come in here. The snake can snake him, take him to Boston, and then you can watch this team give up $160. Maybe that's what they need, too. That'll get them back in the lottery, giving up $160 a game. Because you think they come in there when they still are trying to come in there when he is in there. Can you imagine if he's not in there? Everybody gets in there. And I love Sabonis, but he can't guard Brian Haas. And that's true. Just a thought. And listen, I don't blindly do this, but I'm going to keep it fair. I mean, I think you probably should watch. I mean, it's really easy to go, well, look at the stats. And that's why I say all the time, man, people just soak up the box score and don't watch, and you have no idea. You have no idea the effect somebody like that still has on a game. And it's real easy to see when he's in or when he's out. But secretly, I hope that you're right. Secretly, I hope that he is traded, and this team can't guard anybody, and it's a sweet-ass layup line every single game, and they give up 160. I'm going to sit back and laugh. That'll make me feel good. Go to a team like Boston who would value something like that. who has better offensive options. I'm right there with you, Brian. I think I'm on board with Brian. Me and Brian right there. We're right there together, Brian. And that's what I want to see. And believe me, I know he'll probably will get worked over according to everybody tonight too. But you have no idea what this team would look like. It is so bad defensively and staying in front of anybody. And then what happens to your excuse? Then your excuse goes someplace else. I think that's exactly what needs to happen immediately. So, Kevin, if you're listening on your way to the game, trade Miles immediately so you guys can give up 160 points a game. I want to see that sweet layup line going back and forth. He can't make layups, all right. Can't make layups. Honestly, I don't even want to get into it because it's tired. He's never going to be as good as you want him to be. He's never going to be as bad as you think he is. It's just it. So I would agree with you. I agree with Brian Haas says he needs to be traded immediately. I'm changing my tune. Trade Miles immediately. Because I cannot wait. That'll be an entertaining second half right there. I can't wait for the second half of the season. Trade him right now. Do it. Hey, Pritchard, trade him. Trade him for a draft pick. Trade him for a draft pick and re-sign TJ Leaf, who was once upon a time your draft pick. Trade him for a draft pick that turns into TJ Leaf. Trade him for a draft pick like Goga, who doesn't play. I think it's a hell of a plan. As a matter of fact, I'm writing that down. I'm all on board. I've changed my tune. I've changed the tune. I'm on the other side. He may not be able to make a layup, but you guys can watch a hell of a lot of layups being made. And that'll be fun. Enjoyable for everybody. A quick one, Mike Chappell, CBS 4 and Fox 59 is going to talk about this Colts offseason. It is just about set to get started. And believe me, if you think it's going to be exciting now, wait until you see all these teams that have these cap casualties, these oh wow kind of reactionary cap casualties. It's going to be enjoyable. Chappell, top of the hour. Anything goes in the 6 o'clock hour. I'm on the other side. Brian Haas has convinced me to go to the other side. I want him to end up. Where's the snake? Get the snake on the line here. Get Snake needs Turner. Seriously, you can just sit back, block some shots, let everybody else score. They can win, go to the Eastern Conference Finals, make Brad Stevens look good. Then Brad Stevens doesn't have to come back here and coach IU. And Vic can go there too. You can have Vic and Miles both in Boston. And the Pacers can give up 160 points a game. That'll be really fun. It's a hell of a plan. I'm on board. Back with you next.
Hey, one of the things I've come to love about betting basketball on FanDuel Sportsbook is I'm always finding new player props or game props that I really like, and that comes in handy when you're using the same game parlay on FanDuel Sportsbook. That's right, the same game parlay. So you might want to bet on the Pacers to win a game or another team to win a game, and how many points your favorite player is going to score, how many rebounds they get, who's the first one to score a basket, all kinds of in-game things that you can bet on, and you put it together for a same game parlay. And right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 back in site credit each day if your parlay falls one leg short with same game parlay insurance. You heard that right. Every day. It's one of the many reasons I bet on FanDuel. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Try a same-game parlay and use promo code WFNI at sign-up. That is promo code WFNI. They'll know I sent you. Must be 21 or over, present in Indiana. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's Rob Belushi at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg. All March, Indy is Tourney Town, and our mascot, Brian Baby Boomer Weddle, is in tryouts to make the team.
Hey, Coach Rob, can I stop running now?
Listen up, Baby Boomer. We have a strong game plan to win this month, and if you want to make the team, you got to keep up with the plays. Our first play is $15,000 off 2020 F-150s.
$15,000 off F-150s. That's a great play.
And we're running $8,000 off 2020 Escapes.
$8,000 off 2020 Escapes. Another great play. Wait, how many plays are we running at once?
That's a coaching decision, Brian. We also have over 200 nearly new vehicles ready to get in the game.
And we can give you the assist with $2,000 more for your trade.
Now you got it. I'm promoting you to team captain. Keep that mascot suit, though.
Why?
Because you're doing both jobs now, captain and mascot.
I think that's impossible, Rob.
There's no I in Estes, Brian. All March, get $15,000 off any 2020 F-150 or $8,000 off any 2020 Escape. Your key is waiting at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg.
Hey, it's John here. As springtime is just around the corner, it kind of feels like we're getting there now, doesn't it? Which means it's time to get your lawn on track. You know how much I care about mine. You know, I care about it too, and then I look at it sometimes and I go, man, it doesn't look like I really care about it. That's why I'm now down with Sunday. It's called GetSunday.com. Here's what I did. I went online, GetSunday.com, put in my home address, and their free lawn analysis, it took care of everything. And what they do, it uses the soil and climate data to create a tailored nutrient plan so you get all the stuff your lawn needs at a spectacular price. You're going to love it. I mean, no more lawn services for you or anything like that. Seriously, GetSunday.com can do it. I did it. It was really easy, and you know how much I like it being hassle-free. So right now, getsunday.com/JMV. Utilize it. Do it right now, all right? Let's all have our lawns look fantastic, and we can talk about how we did it all ourselves, which we love to do. Getsunday.com/JMV and get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. That's getsunday.com/JMV to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. I have mine. Get yours, and let's have a fantastic spring, and our lawn look great all season long. Getsunday.com/JMV right now.
Rick Edelman, award-winning radio host and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his radio show. Let's hear his answer on long-term care.
Hi, Rick. I'm worried about the cost of long-term care. Should I get insurance?
You're smart to ask, because 1 in 2 Americans over 65 will need long-term care. But do you need the insurance? It depends on your financial situation. If you're rich, you don't need insurance because you can afford the costs. If you're poor, Medicaid will pay for your care. But if you're in the middle class, the cost of care could push you and your spouse into poverty. Before you buy insurance, consider your complete finances, including your savings and investments. Get independent advice from someone who will give you the guidance you need, and that's in your best interest.
That's Rick Edelman, founder of Edelman Financial Engines. If you're looking for a trusted partner, talk to one of our financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
SportsCenter updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now, save up to $150 off Nito, Toyo, or Pirelli tires. Only at Big O Tires, the team you trust.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Hey, join me tomorrow. We're going to talk to Jason Hammer. He's going to have some bets for you. KB, Kevin Bowen will talk a little IU basketball. And, of course, the Colts. And don't forget Seth Greenberg with his weekly visit. Join me.
The Ride with JMV.
My vision is to take this team as the first franchise to the Saturn Football League and play against 8-foot gargoyles that run 3.8 speed.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
I have officially changed. Shout out to Brian Haas inside the lounge and YouTube Live for changing my attitude. I am trade deadline miles to Boston. That's what I want right now. I'm officially down with that program. Get a couple of good scores. Nicely run. Actually, 3 now good scores. Nicely run offense. Oh, yeah. A little bit of defense there. A little bit of help. He can go and chase blocks. Chase blocks. They find him. You know why they find him? Because nobody out there can stay in front of their man. Nobody. I'm with you, though, my brother. I am. I am now with you. Hey, JMV, no other team is Miles, and they're not giving up 169 points. Well, you watch this one. You watch this. Honestly, sometimes I don't know what some of you watch. I think you just kind of get blind. You, like, run with the pack. I'm assuming you don't watch. You just take somebody's word for it, read the box score. But I'm on board with you now, though. Because I do. I want to see this team. I think it would be comical to watch this team defend without him. And hell, they're not even playing well right now. Imagine how much worse that would have been. I'm with you, though. You guys have changed my opinion entirely. I appreciate you. Hey, by the way, Nuggets-Pacers later on tonight prior to the All-Star break. And that goes down, 7:30 pregame, 8 o'clock tip time tonight. JJ, a little bit earlier, Fox Sports Indiana, talked about that. Last night, Dylan Windler came off the bench and actually was in there at the end of the game, the former Perry Meridian standout from Belmont. And Dylan Windler of the Cavaliers joins us coming up on tomorrow's show. Good friend of the show, by the way. So that is coming up tomorrow. Mike Wells tomorrow, Bob Lovell tomorrow, Don Fisher tomorrow. Normal Friday stuff going down. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He does join us. How different do you think the cap casualty type of year that we're going into right now is going to be during this year with the pandemic and no crowds and things like that and the cap being lowered compared to what we have seen in recent history here, Mike?
A lot more dramatic. I've seen some teams already cutting players, but the Saints got rid of their punter Morstead tonight. They're a team that's $70 million over the cap. That's incredible. And you know, they've got to slash major contracts just to get to the cap, let alone re-signing, Jameis Winston. I think I looked at I had a curiosity. I looked at their cap, and they've got Tyson Hill. Is it like 16, 15 million for him? For he's a novelty, because I don't know if they know what he, what is he? I mean, is he a tight end? Is he really a quarterback? He's nice to have when Drew Brees is going full guns, but now what? So I think you're going to see – normally, you see like now you've got, okay, these are the pending free agents. Who might the Colts go after? Well, it might be, hey, Von Miller or, Trent Williams or whomever. But then the list itself is always diminished because teams re-sign or franchise their players. So the people who you think right now might be out there aren't out there. Well, now, I mean, there's going to be more names out there that maybe you didn't anticipate because teams have to get rid of the big contracts. And, if you look, I was talking earlier today with Joe Hopkins, my guy, with our podcast, and if you look at the Colts roster, now they don't have to create cap space or really increase their cap space, but if they did, there's only like two guys that you say, okay, put a gun to my head, these two. And that's Jack Doyle, which they're not going to do because he's too valuable. He's like $6 or $7 million, I think, against the cap. And Mark Lewinsky, their guard, who's like $6 million. Yeah. Well, those are very, very reasonable contracts. They're just so I just don't see anybody that the Colts have to where, boy, this guy is really in danger. There isn't anybody, and that's because, for the most part, they've done a very good job of not giving bad contracts. There've been a couple that haven't worked out. Jonathan Hankins didn't work out. That was more scheme. They went from 3-4 to 4-3. Then him. Devin Funchess didn't work out. Well, that wasn't, he broke his collarbone.
He worked out for 3 quarters. You got to admit.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It was a good 3 quarters. But by and large, they haven't had those contracts where, boy, this is going to come back and bite him in the butt. Jabal Sherrod played his out. Danico Autry, Justin Houston, Eric Ebron. They got their money's worth on him. So they've done a really good job of not having contracts that when you walk away, there's buku dead money. Now, that they did with Andrew Luck, but that wasn't their own doing. So, But I think you're going to see there's some teams that have got to get rid of people simply because, it's not a suggestion to be in compliance with the salary cap. We hope you guys are all down to, $180 million or whatever it's going to be. No, you have to be. And you can't pay, Jerry Jones can't pay a 10% luxury tax over being over the cap. No, you have to be in compliance. So we're going to see teams scrambling to do that. And there were years back in the Manning days when the Colts had to do that, if you remember. And the only concern, if that's the right word, the only issue moving forward with the Colts is, and this is a product of them being right on things, is they're going to end up with they're headed towards a top-heavy roster of 5, 6, 7, 8 players taking up a bunch of the cap. DeForest Buckner, Carson Wentz, $25 million for quarterbacks really is very reasonable. But all of a sudden, Darius Leonard's going to be the highest-paid linebacker.
Quentin Nelson coming.
Quentin Nelson is going to be the highest-paid offensive lineman.
And that's why you almost have to. You really, they're in a position where, like, people ask all the time, and I'm sure you get this too, Mike, that hey, the left tackle needs to be an established player. Free agency has a couple, but you can't afford that. You're in a position you can't have that much money on your offensive line, can you?
Well, Braden Smith.
Braden Smith is coming up too. It's another great point.
They're going to give him $15-16 million because that's what it takes. So, yeah, that's why I get sort of locked in on things. I just don't see how they can go free agency in that left tackle and bring in, Trent Williams for $18 million or Villanueva for $15 or $16 million. I don't know how you make that work cap wise. You're already going to, again, if you're right and you hit on Braden Smith and you hit on Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly's already the highest paid center, how do you have 4 of the top paid offensive linemen in the league at one time? I don't know how you make. I guess you can make it work by going, cutting costs elsewhere. But that's why I think if you can get the left tackle in the draft, and most drafts they show that there will be a left tackle there. Now, whether it's the guy that Broward likes, I don't know. Maybe he finds a guy in round 2 and thinks that pairing that guy with Quentin Nelson on the left side works. As much as they're committed to having a strong offensive line, I don't know that they're going to say, well, we can make this work by taking a guy in the 2nd round or the 4th round. Remember, they don't have a 3rd round. So I just don't know how you make your cap work by giving a left tackle big money, even if it's only for a year or two. It just doesn't work. But this is the result of hitting on your draft picks. I mean, ideally, you hit on these high draft picks and you reinvest in them. But, again, Darius Leonard. So you're going to have Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Nelson, Kelly, Braden Smith, and their quarterback. That's 5 or 6 players making a bunch of money. But at least with the exception of Wentz and Buckner, they're your own people. And that's why I feel for guys like Anthony Walker. How do you make it work with him? I don't know how you can.
I thought it sounded like when he talked about him and his with you guys season ender that it was see you later. When he started talking about how great of a coach he's going to be or whatever.
We love you, man. Yeah. And Marlon Mack. Now that's a little different because he's not going to cost you much.
Yeah, he's going to be back. They easily can afford him, and I don't think he's going to have many other options. So he's going to be back.
It's kind of ironic that the fact that he got hurt greatly increased his likelihood of coming back. Because if he stays healthy, I don't know how you bring him back. And that's why you took Jonathan Taylor, so you didn't have to bring him back, the way it worked out. But, yeah, I think he's back because it just makes sense. But it's just they've got $43 million of cap space, and it's going to go quick. It's going to go, $10 million for a receiver, whether that's T.Y. or somebody else. $8 or $9 million for a cornerback, whether it's Xavier Rhodes or somebody else. 10 or 12 minimum for a pass rusher, whether it's Justin Houston or somebody else. So all of a sudden, there's $30 million of your cap space. So it goes very quickly. And, by the way, they want to get Darius Leonard done this summer. and you'd like to get Quentin Nelson done. Probably not this year. I don't know how they can make it. You can do crazy things with the cap. I'm not sure how you get all that. Braden Smith, Nyheim Hines. Maybe Nyheim Hines gets done quicker than the other guys. Not Darius, but maybe he's second in line, just because it's a more doable contract.
So what you're saying is they have a great deal of flexibility with the cap, a lot of money to spend, but they can't because they have a lot of guys here in the future they got to re-sign and bring back. So it's not as flexible and as genuine as you might read.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they really need to get Darius done this summer, just because he's greatly outplayed the contract, which is a good thing. How do you go tell Darius, hey, you're a great player, but next year, no, you'll get him done. It's the Braden Smiths that's going to command a monster contract. Again, $15-16 million for right tackle. And how do you tell guys, Nyheim Hines, hey, wait your turn? I don't know how that's the leverage a team has, but these guys have been very, very good at rewarding their own. Go back to that, was it 2 years ago where they did Desir and Kenny Moore and Rhodes and all their in Sanchez.
Well, that's essentially what Bill Polian did, back in the day. And you remember whenever that was like trying to think. I know I was down Big Ten tournament when all the essential players of the Super Bowl, the 2 Super Bowl past, were let go, all basically in that one March afternoon, if you remember.
That's what you run into, and that's what I was talking about something today about, like what the Steelers are doing with Roethlisberger. They're trying to squeeze every ounce out of him, and that's kind of what Bill did with the Colts back in those days. They were going to ride that Manning train as long as they could, and they did. And you just knew, because of the way it was done, that when it ended, it wasn't going to be pretty. But just because of the way, I'm trying to think who all they let go. That was Gary Brackett,
Dallas Clark, Joseph Adai,
Joe Adai, and Melvin Bullitt. Now, some of them were injury concerns, and some of them were older guys and all that. But they tried to squeeze every bit of water out of that, which that's what you do, and that's kind of what the Saints have done with Breeze, and it's certainly what they're doing in Pittsburgh. Look at Pittsburgh with even Roethlisberger creating some cap space. They've got 6, 8, 10 quality free agents to try to deal with, and they can't re-sign many of those guys. And that's why, the Colts have got flexibility and some issues, but I'd much rather be in this situation where I'm not having – I remember back in the day we talked about drafting and re-signing. Remember back with Pauline and his group, what they were good at back early on is they drafted good linebackers, not great linebackers. Remember they had a run of
no doubt
Mike Peterson and Marcus Washington and David Thornton, and I don't believe they gave us any of them a second. Rob Morris, he was in there. And none of them got a second contract. Morris came back, but not.
This is another reason that you're telling me here that they really need to move Nelson from guard to tackle.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Is that what you're telling me?
I wouldn't.
Is there a point where you have too much money invested in your offensive line?
Not if you draft a left tackle, because you draft a left tackle at 21, and that's not going to be monster money.
But you're still going to have to pay the monster money to Quentin Nelson. But if you have him at left tackle, and then you can have you're going to have to do that anyway, but you have him left tackle, and then you can bring in a guard, and then you're going to be set and not as top-heavy as you might be one of these days. No?
Probably, but I would rather leave Nelson at guard and pay him what you're going to pay him,
I know what you mean. I know. I think Jim Irsay shot down my idea already, so yeah.
Well, the highest-paid lineman, I think, is back to Yari like $23 million. Now, whether he gets that, I don't know. But I would rather leave Nelson alone, bring in a left tackle who I really like in the draft, and that's up to those guys to figure who that is. And then for 4 years, you've got that left tackle really reasonable. And by then, this cap's in a year or two, this cap's going to make that major jump to where then all these contracts aren't going to be quite the issue. It's just that this year, I don't know what it's supposed to do next year. Maybe it's not going to make the big jump next year. But they're in position they can get Leonard done this summer and not have his cap number go crazy. You know, let's say let's say the extension averages $20 million. They can give him bonuses and prorate it and keep his cap number doable for this coming year. They can, again, you can do things with the cap. Now, whether you can do that with Leonard and Braden Smith, both, I don't know. These guys are a ton smarter than me. Mike Bloom and Paladino, the guys are a ton smarter than me on that. But at least they're not back like when the Colts used to have to, they were always restructuring Manning and Harrison and Edgerrin and Marcus Pollard and moving money around here and there. And the only one of those linebackers I mentioned that they really wanted to re-sign and didn't was David Thornton. And that was a cap issue to where they couldn't get things done right with Harrison and Manning's contract. But that's why I almost compare Anthony Walker to Peterson and Marcus Washington, to are really, really, really good players. But you just have to make a decision that you can't pay great money to really good players, and that's kind of where they are with some of these guys.
It's kind of funny because what you just said in long form there, and rightly so, and very accurate, is you can have pieced this together according to your plan as well as you possibly could, financially sitting in a great spot, taking care of everybody that you have drafted that you want to bring back to be the core of this team. But if you don't have a quarterback, it's not worth a damn. That's it. That's exactly what you just told me. Yeah,
and they think they've got a quarterback, but they don't know. I mean, I would rather have Carson Wentz than maybe 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. Apparently Trevor Lawrence is the real deal, although you don't know. You think, but you don't know. But history tells you that 2 or 3 of these guys aren't going to make it. It's just remember what's that stat that some guy threw out there on a couple of weeks ago, or when Wentz was let go, is of all the quarterbacks taken in round 1 from 2009 to 2016, all of them, it's like 22 guys. None are still with their same team. That's ridiculous. So I would rather have. That's why I'd rather have DeForest Buckner than the 13th pick last year, and I probably would rather have Carson Wentz. Not probably. I'd rather have Carson Wentz than 3 of these 5 quarterbacks in the draft, just because he's got a track record of having done it. Now I realize, the last impression was awful, but he's got tape of playing pretty well, and these other guys have got 0 tape of playing at the NFL level. And history tells us 2 or 3 of these guys aren't going to make it, aren't going to be what you need them to be.
It's going to be interesting to think. If you're not a fan of the move for Wentz, and I have been, just for the simple fact is you had to get somebody, and even with the type of season he had this past year, Mike, he was the most logical available. Maybe somebody else becomes more available, but the logic or the reality behind getting that somebody just wasn't going to be there. I mean, it's there for us to discuss, but it was never going to be legit. Wentz was legit, but if this doesn't work, I mean, you're really optionless, and your time is now. I mean, that's going to be really tough. That's going to be really tough if he doesn't work.
If it just doesn't work, if it just doesn't work, and whatever we saw last year is who he is, which I don't think that's the case. But if that's the case, yeah, you're set back. Gosh, I don't know how many, 2, 3, 4 years. I have no idea what the quarterback pool is next year or the year after. But when
your build is just backwards, though, isn't it? And it's not your fault that your build is backwards. Normally, you build around the quarterback as they get from their rookie contract to their higher dollar, and you try to win that way. They're bass backwards from that because of Andrew Luck.
When we talked to Frank Wright, I think it was last week, and he mentioned that about trying to get that continuity of this will be the 5th year in a row we've had a different starter on opening day. That's just it's asinine. That's Jacksonville-like. And what Frank Wright talked about is when you have that guy, the same guy, then you build and you evolve and you grow as an offense. And when you don't, you're always adapting a lot of stuff to that quarterback. And gosh, they've gone. Look at the talent they've gone from. I mean, not talent, but the style. From Luck to Brissett Rivers. I mean, all three different players. So, yeah, if this works, good for them. They've got wins for the next, 6-8 years. If it doesn't, then while it doesn't work, Quentin Nelson's getting older. Darius Leonard, all of your good players are getting older. Ryan Kelly. So you're wasting, potentially their really good years. So, but again, when we talked, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago after the wins thing, is whether you liked it or not. If you didn't like it, who was your plan B?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you wait and somebody becomes available, but I wasn't a big fan of them waiting.
Boy, and what if you wait and they don't?
That's the scenario where you get Jacoby Brissett back.
Right, unless the start of free agency he goes back to New England or somewhere.
When people said, hey, because a lot of people, Mike, if you remember, before they got Wentz, suggesting that and I think it was national folks too, that Jacoby Brissett. I think Tony Dungy even mentioned that because, I like Brissett or whatever. That's what Dungy had said. And I thought the only option that he is back is if you absolutely wait and swing and miss to get somebody and there's just nobody else left.
Right, and that's hardly the option you want as well.
There's no doubt.
Because what? Because he's the last guy, the last guy standing. So and we've talked. I think Brissett could be. I wouldn't mind him back being a backup this year, and then let Eason be the third guy and actually get some reps in better reps in practice in preseason. But maybe they'll give Eason that chance to be the backup this year. But it's all about the quarterback. I mean, there are very few occasions where a team has won, maybe not in spite of the quarterback. I mean, we're talking the Trent Dilfers and we're talking Brad Johnson, to where they had epic defenses, and it was just don't get in the way. I would almost put Flacco in that category. I mean, you talk about a guy that hit lightning in a bottle at the right time. But look at the list of quarterbacks and that get the conference championship games, and the Super Bowl, and 90% of them, 95% of them are guys. I mean guys, that really can elevate your team, and if they don't need wins to be that guy, he doesn't need to be Peyton Manning or even Andrew Luck to where he carries an offense, but he's got to be more than a game manager and just not getting away type of things. But if he's what he was in 3 of his 5 years there, he'll be good enough.
Hey,
he will be.
One quick final thing with you. T.Y. Hilton had that tweet earlier this week. It says, no matter where I go, no matter who I pick, the ghost is ready to work. Many people suggesting, including myself, that is not a good sign for Colts fans that would like to see him close out his career as the Colts wide receiver. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, and that's where we get in trouble reading into those things, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe they've had a discussion, and that's kind of what Ballard's kind of told us, is that they're going to let these guys test the market, even with Xavier Rhodes, to where see what you can get, and if you don't get what you want, come back or get an offer, and maybe we can match it. Whether T.Y. would do that, I don't know. I go back and forth on T.Y. Today, I'm in the vein of I would re-sign him for $10 million a year. Because if you don't do that, you're going to pay somebody else $10 million, and I'd rather have a known quantity in T.Y. Hilton, who I thought he was better last year than his numbers showed. I really do. And who are you going to get equal to him for $10 million? Now, if you're going to pay $15 or $18 million, then maybe you got a chance at a couple of the top end guys. But this is a case where I'd rather reinvest in the known than, hey, maybe Will Fuller can really be a guy and stay healthy, or Corey Davis can emerge. I would rather, in this case, go with a known. But that could change. And most times when guys hit the market, they don't come back just because they get an offer and you're not willing to either match it or you don't get the chance to match it. So That's why if they really, really want to bring back like Xavier Rhodes, I'd make him my really best offer and say, man, this is it, and I don't want to say take it or leave it, but I'm always leery about a guy hitting the market and hoping he comes back. I just think that's risky, and they're at positions that if you don't re-sign T.Y., if you don't re-sign Xavier Rhodes, which all of a sudden
your options are dwindling, just like the quarterback would have been.
They either dwindle or they're a lot more expensive to replace them.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. His latest podcast is over there as he does a weekly podcast with everybody over at CBS 4 and Fox 59. And we'll be a week closer, inside of a week, until officially free agency can start.
We can quit speculating and actually have some movement. Although these guys don't always strike right away. Didn't we wait like 2 weeks on Justin Houston a couple of years ago?
Yeah, yep.
I think now Ebron might have been pretty quick that 1 year, but they generally let slow down before they really put their feet in the pool.
Mike Chappell with us. Hey, thanks as always. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
Be well, guys.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. All right, quick one. We shall return inside the lounge on YouTube Live. Glorious discussions going on right now. And I got your phones coming up on the other side. I got Anything Goes top of the hour, which means I need to shuffle into a break right now. 239-1070 is the number. Back with you next.
When you place a wager with William Hill Sportsbook, every sports moment is even more interesting. And we have a special 2021 offer to help you bet on all your favorite sports risk-free. Download the William Hill Sportsbook app, and when you sign up, you can get started with a risk-free bet of up to $2,021. Use promo code RADIORF. Must be physically present in Indiana. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Let's make it interesting with William Hill Sportsbook.
Hey, it's JMV. Last year was tough, and even tougher on me had I not got into Franciscan Health to have my colonoscopy. Right, Dr. Mon?
That's right, JMV. Because you made your health a priority and didn't put off your colonoscopy, we were able to remove your precancerous polyps before they had a chance to turn into cancer.
I know people that put off their screening. I'm glad I didn't.
1 in 20 Americans will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime, and it's the second most common cause of cancer-related deaths. Putting off your routine colonoscopy is nothing to mess around with, but you can also take comfort that knowing that our cancer center is the first and only accredited program for rectal cancer care, and their team is committed to providing the highest level of care should you need it.
Don't put it off. Get to Franciscan Health. They make it so easy, and then you can sit around and watch hoop.
So don't put it off any longer. Go to franciscanhealth.org/colon-care to learn the facts.
Schedule an appointment, even on a Saturday. Tell them JMV sent you.
Don't confuse basketball madness with haircut madness. Treat your head to the best. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Greenwood and ask for the King's Treatment. It's a precision haircut followed by an invigorating scalp massage to die for. As if that's not enough, we even follow it up with a hot lather neck shave and a hot towel treatment. Last but not least, our talented stylists deliver a neck and shoulder massage to cap your royal treatment. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road. Lady Jane's in Greenwood, it's wicked awesome.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Dietel Realty at markdietel.com. Today, the number's 317-755-4232 or online. That's markdietel.com. The only realtor that I trust, and here's one thing that I know, because I know a lot of you, there's some moving and shaking going on out there, and sometimes when you get a new gig, that gig is someplace else, and you have to sell your residence. What do? Where do you go? It is easy. Mark Dietel Realty at markdietel.com. Again, 317-755-4232. That's markdietel.com today. Mark is a guy that you can trust to make sure everything is done just right and you have an incredibly smooth experience. 317-755-4232 or online. That's markdietel.com today.
Hammer here for Indy's hometown sportsbook, Bet Rivers, betrivers.com. You don't have to wait for the tournament to make some money on college basketball. And nobody gives you better odds than Bet Rivers does. And when you win with Rush Pay, you get your money faster than the competition. I've played all the other sports betting apps, and nobody takes care of the player like BetRivers does. Sign up today. Must be 21 and over, a resident of Indiana, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, John here to remind you of this, the best place to go if you're looking for a new set of wheels, and why not? Why not 2021? Get out of that ride you're in right now and talk to my friend Eric Wilson at Andy Moore Buick GMC in Fishers about a new vehicle. And I've told you all about it. I've had the GMC Acadia for a couple of months now, and it is outstanding. Love it. The SLE, 0 down payment. You ready? $249 a month, and I promise you will dig it as much as I do. You got Buick Envisions right now for up to $10,000 off, and that is just the proverbial tip of the iceberg here, friends. The best deals you're going to find any place, the best customer service you're going to find any place is at one place with Eric Wilson and his staff at Andy Moore Buick GMC. Tell them I sent you, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
Join the Crew Car Wash Unlimited Club and wash whenever you want. Sign up at any of their locations to get unlimited washes and unlimited savings.
If you qualify, the VA loan program is the best option out there. Whether you're refinancing or buying a home, visit HeroLoan.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
The Ride with JMV.
Are you kidding?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Mike Chappell, podcast 1075thefan.com. Dylan Windler, the Cavaliers tomorrow. Mike Wells coming up tomorrow. Bob Lovell tomorrow. Don Fisher tomorrow. I just saw this where Steak and Shake is going to, and everybody thought they were going under and done. Steak and Shake is going to a kiosk setup, right? Is what it says here. No more servers. A kiosk. I'll tell you what you got to have. You just got to have better. The food's got to be better. I mean, our Steak and Shake memories are much better than certainly the most recent past. Self-service kiosk and no service when dining. You gotta have better food, though. That'd be nice. There's Todd. There's Eddie. Look at everybody coming in here. That would be my advice. Remember the memories we have of how great that was compared to how it has been? Yeah, just get your food on target a little bit. How about that? Start right there. Hey, JMV, the Colts were built for Andrew Luck. Carson Wentz's game has just enough similarities to Luck that this can really work. I like the way that they're built, the way they're building. They do need another wide receiver, even if they do keep T.Y. Hilton. I would agree with you on that, at least the T.Y. Hilton wide receiver part, certainly the wide receiver part. JMV, I could be wrong. I'm sensing a bit of sarcasm in your voice regarding Miles Turner. I'm sold now. Because I want to see this team be the worst defensively in the entire NBA. I'm with you. Hey, JMV, I know Kevin Pritchard is a friend of the show, but yeah, let's listen to the guy and trade Miles for picks and then give those picks to a guy that hasn't hit on one. That's going to make him feel good drive to the game. Turner might be the last good pick, and that wasn't his. Goga didn't even get minutes last night. And see, this ought to answer your question. Well, they should go ahead and tank. They should go for a draft selection. If you're doing that, you got to give Goga more, right, on a night in Cleveland. Don't you have you burn 9 guys and Goga's now 1? You got to give him a little bit of clock, don't you? Give Aaron Holiday 5 minutes. And what, 4 of your top 6 went 30-plus, and the only two below 30 last night, Miles and Doug McDermott. So he's definitely still trying to get this done. I just could never see the Pacers doing that. It would surprise me if they did. I mean, really surprise me if they did. That is pretty funny. At JMV, the team only had 6 boards at the half. Hard to get rebounds when one dude has 9 steals. That was pretty funny last night. A good shout-out to T.J. McConnell, who had an outstanding game. It was glorious to watch, even if the game around it wasn't that great. But it was good for the Pacers because they won. They close out before the All-Star break tonight against Denver. That is an 8 o'clock tip, 7:30 pregame coverage right here. Garen talks Boilermaker hoopage, and well, he should, at 239-1070. So, Garen, tell me this. Will your Boilers put that final staple in the career of Archie Miller coming up on Saturday?
I would think not for the $10 million buyout, but if they just absolutely quit and get pounded and then, go out and whatever it would be, the 6-11 game get crushed, possibly, but I can't lose to be the end of Archie just for, obviously a disappointing year, but I would think that unless they just absolutely crush him, like I said, I would have to see just absolute quit. And,
listen, I love to throw around other people's money in this situation here, but
right.
God, I have seen it. I have seen it, and it's enough. It's enough for me, I think, to understand it now. I think a lot of people would agree with that take, so I've seen it. I've seen it. It's not like anybody's going to next year, hey, look, now the magic is underway. It's just not happening. So,
well, what's been so much fun about Purdue this year and just watching them grow and just really seeing the years of Painter's culture just manifesting itself.
Yeah.
And you got this young team, they lost supposedly what were 2 of their better players. On paper, it sure seemed like it last year. Certainly I would have thought that with Harms. And it's just been – the whole team's been a breath of fresh air. Everybody's out there rooting for each other. Newman gets benched after Stefanovich gets put back in the lineup, and if anything, it looks like he's just trying harder out there. The way Edie's growth has just been incredible this year. It's hard to be anything but just positive as hell right now. And people thought I was absolutely nuts, but I thought they had a shot to finish top 4 in the Big Ten, and that's barring IU pull one out of their butt tomorrow or Saturday. That's going to happen again, and really got to like the way things are going right now, and I think they'll be in the Sweet 16.
They are playing well. They are fun to watch, and it just kind of seems like the Matt's getting this thing really pieced together at the right time. It is. And the good part about it is this team is young. And then, looking past this year, it's like you look at IU and you're thinking, all right, what's going to happen next year? Well, you're going to lose some guys. Some guys aren't going to come back. There's no question about that. And it doesn't really look great. But you look at Purdue and you look what they have coming in next year. You Boilermaker fans have to be absolutely thrilled.
Well, and you can't just snap your fingers and make it happen, but I go to this bell again and again. It's about building a culture, and Matt recruits a couple of good shooters. One good shooter a class next year doesn't have one, but he's already got 5 on the team, so it doesn't matter. He always goes after a big man. He always goes after a swing 4, and he knows what he wants to build, and it's just about finding the right guys that will become part of that team. Slowly but surely, the recruiting rank has been coming higher. I think that Elite 8 run has paid off these last couple of classes with just, publicity like that never hurts. But it's not like Cream kind of did it, and Archie did it in a way too, where they thought they had to get high-end guys that sell them on the fact you're going to be a star, you're going to be the star of the program. Everybody's going to love you, and it's really about building that nucleus.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll subtract starters and be even better the next year. And I'm just so happy to see Purdue doing that right now. And like I said, I don't think they'll win the Big Ten tournament. Michigan's better than they are. Illinois is better than they are. But just got to love the hell where they're at. And I wouldn't be shocked they'd be in a 3 seed in the tournament if they can maybe advance to Sunday.
My man Garen not only is rooting for his Boilermakers, but he's going to throw a little shout out and root for my Sycamores too over in Arch Madness, aren't you? You're doing that.
I would love to see that, and especially with the way they're just taking a crap on Lansing. What a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was coming for a while, and
that
it
was
sucks.
One of Doyle's best columns the other day, just showing that the last couple of years that he's built that back, and that's a shame. But no, absolutely, I would love to see ISU in the tournament.
Garen, thanks, man. It's good to hear from you.
See you, man.
It is the most knowledgeable Boilermaker fan in talk radio. That's Garen. Yeah, I've mentioned this before about Indiana State, too. I mean, Greg Lansing is a friend. I love what Greg Lansing does. I love what he has done. He should remain the head coach. Sherrard has other ideas. And that's what's going to happen, barring some incredible change of heart. And I mean, listen, I like Sherrard too, and he knows that. But I admire what Greg has done with a program that really nobody has cared about, with the exception of a few of us. I mean, it's not it hasn't been a great job. It's the worst job in the Mo Valley. I love Terre Haute, and I preach my love and why you should love Terre Haute too, but sometimes even my words fall on deaf ears. So I hope that he goes out with that proverbial bang this weekend. But, yeah, we've talked about this. We had him on the show, 2-3 weeks ago? And everybody just kind of responded to what what's his nuts said. Jeff Goldwyn, but I mean, we had him on a couple of weeks ago and talked about his situation, and I mean, he knew going in, and that's essentially if IU decides, to ride out this deal and it is financial, that's essentially what IU would be doing on a much larger scale, but what IU would be doing next year. So here's what's going to happen, right? So if IU makes a change, it's going to be Steve Alford, then Greg Lansing is going to be his associate head coach. You know that's coming, right? Eddie, what do you think? Are the odds greater with that happening or Victor Oladipo being a Boston Celtics guard after the trade deadline?
I would say the Victor Oladipo, because part of me doesn't.
Come on, man.
Part of me doesn't think IU will do that buyout with Archie after this year.
That's what's going to happen. Get ready. If I put odds on it right now, what would the odds be for that? Yeah. See, and again, I've been a Dane Fife guy for 4 years. I think everybody out there knows that. You're well aware of it, but there's certainly a sentiment out there pro Steve Alford. So if it's Steve Alford, then Greg Lansing is going to be the associate head coach. Be ready for it. But no, I do. Beyond that, I admire what Greg has done, and he has fought for that basketball program when in the past it's been just absolutely forgotten. I mean, you talk about living for the glory years, and IU living for the glory years. Think about that of Indiana State. When I was over there, it wasn't any good. And the players came to my house and got hammered and then tried to play on a Saturday, and that didn't work out for them. Greg has elevated. He has taken it seriously. He has embraced, and a lot of those prior to him, certainly Royce did, but a lot of those prior to them did not. I mean, Kevin McKenna had a cup of coffee, got the hell out of Dodge. What about Sherm? Gary says a lot of talk regarding Micah Shrewsbury. And, yeah, that's – I know, there is a lot of talk. You're right. I know Micah has a kid that's up in Lafayette that's really good too. So I think you can – and, Sherrard with his Purdue connection, I think, Gary, you can read into that logic. You're very intelligent to read into that. Hey, quick when we shall return. Anything goes, top of the hour. You guys want to do that? Anything goes, 239-1070. Also, your calls for those on the hold. I said on the hold as if there's the hold. On hold at 239-1070. Back with you next.
Join us March 8th for the virtual BOSMA Speaker Series. We welcome keynote speaker Barry Collier, VP and Director of Butler Athletics. For more information and to RSVP, head to the events page at 1075thefan.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks is honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Wednesday at their Bourbon and Brews party. Get to Twin Peaks from 5 to 7 p.m. to experience a lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. Twin Peaks, 82nd Street and I-69.
Hey, it's John here. LD Smith Plumbing to the rescue, 24/7, 365. Large, small jobs, emergencies. They took care of mine 2 weeks ago, and they can you as well. 317-284-9526. But I hear you. You're saying, hey, my pipage is all good right now. I have got no internal plumbing issues. But hold on a minute. It's not like your internal plumbing issues are going to give you the heads up when something goes wrong. So I am giving you that feel good, that peace of mind at 317-284-9526, that if something goes haywire, and it will, that Lance and his team at LD Smith Plumbing, they have your back whenever you need them. And there's something to be said about not having that hassle on your mind. All of a sudden, what am I going to do? I got to call people. I got to get on Facebook and figure out who people tell me is the best. I can tell you right now who's the best around here. Lance and LD Smith Plumbing. And I can tell you from experience because they were out at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning 2 weeks ago for me. 317-284-9526 right now. You mentioned my name. You're going to get $50 off any service at LD Smith Plumbing. Lance of the team, local and the best for a reason. 317-284-9526 online. LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Now is the time to cheer on your Indiana Pacers live inside Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
Line pass over the shoulder as he cut across the baseline right to left. Turner took it and dunked it.
Single game Pacer tickets are now on sale, and a safe fan experience is our top priority.
Sabonis, McDermott,
let it go.
Brogdon for three. Got it! Malcolm Brogdon!
Nikola Jokic leads the Denver Nuggets for a big matchup with your Pacers. Get tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers Nuggets, Wednesday at 8.
Hey, it's Big Joe, and the action never stops at BetMGM. Hoops and hockey are red hot, and baseball's right around the corner. So it couldn't be a better time to take a shot at an easy 100 from the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today using my code, BigJoe100, and win $100 in free bets when you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Pacers-Nuggets game. And if either team hits a three, you win. No matter what your favorite sport is, it's always showtime at BetMGM. Get in on the fun with innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and much more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use that promo code BigJoe100 to win $100 in free bets when you wager $1 on the Pacers or Nuggets to hit a three. Bet with confidence and turn game days into paydays at BetMGM. This is a new customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years of age or older to wager, and if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
If you're serious about selling your home, call Mark Dietel and his team today at 317-755-4232 or online markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com today.
Small business owners, is your internet making office tasks painfully slow? Are your file upload speeds sluggish? Are your video calls choppy? You need more speed. AT&T Business Fiber gives you up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. Faster upload speeds mean smoother, less glitchy video conferencing and faster file transfers. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-661-FAST to get our best price on our best service. Imagine it, up to 20 times faster upload speeds at half the price of cable. AT&T experts can help you upgrade to AT&T Business Fiber. Soon, you're going to love your internet. Call 844-661-FAST now. Comparison by Telogical Systems, 12-2020.
The Ride with JMV.
I want you out in front of the school with her. I'd like to have a few words with you, by God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We saw this last night. Colin Gillespie, as Jay Wright had mentioned, suffered a serious knee injury, and it's announced now that Gillespie suffered a torn ACL, so his season is over. Last we around here saw him, I didn't watch him last night, but was this weekend when Butler upset then number 8 Villanova. Colin Gillespie was a part of that. He will no longer be a part of that to end the season. He is done with a torn ACL, and that is a really bad thing for Nova. Very unfortunate. By the way, BT Do, listen to the show, hashtag JMV Takeover listener, every Saturday night on B105.7. He has made the call that Butler will win the Big East tournament and punch their ticket. That's his call, and we're going to let him own that. Prop him up if it happens, and he'll have to own it if it doesn't. Gino's at 239-1070. Gino, go ahead.
What's going on, man? How you doing, sir?
Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
All righty. So I just wanted to comment on the Indiana State with Greg Lansing. I mean, here's my thing. The last time Indiana State was in the tournament, it was my freshman year. We played Syracuse, and that's when they had, Fab Melo, Mike Carter-Williams. I mean, they had a pretty good team. But I just don't understand, and everything you said I was going to say was, why is it that they're wanting to part ways and move on from him when he's done so much for the community, the town? I mean, it takes a special person to want to be in Terre Haute. Let's be honest.
I'm telling you, not everybody does. It's like me and you and maybe a handful of others. That's it.
Exactly. And, yeah. I mean, even if they went with somebody else, I mean, yeah, they're going to start over. But even then, that takes with recruiting, coaching staff. I mean, it's a process.
Yeah, I think if somebody were to ask me, I just had a Twitter follower suggest Micah Shrewsbury, who's up at Purdue. I think that's a pretty good trail right there. And listen, and here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. Greg is a really good friend of mine, and I have the greatest admiration for what Greg has done. The problem you're going to have is that I don't think Sherrard, the athletic director, I think he's wanting to go a different direction. And I don't know what Greg can do about it. I just want to see Greg go out with this team with a bang here. And maybe they rethink it. I don't think so. I think it's probably set in stone by now, but I will always admire because he has wanted to be there and he's wanted to do the job, and nobody else has really put too much care into it. Maybe a couple of different times, but not too much in the past. And it has been the worst job in the Mo Valley by no stretch of the imagination. Yeah.
Well, last question. Do you think it has to do with the budget for the sports program in general?
Well, I mean, they really haven't started trying to do anything. I mean, everything, facilities and all that stuff was crap water, and now they've obviously added, to the Holman Center and putting all the money in there. They're starting now to take seriously the athletic program, and I want to make everybody understand this, and it's perfectly clear. Greg took it seriously, but at the time, prior to when Greg was there, it hasn't been taken seriously. They do now, and Sherrard is doing that. He's taking it seriously, but he just apparently seriously wants to go in a different direction. But that Greg's had to kind of fight up on this with people really taking it seriously with everything that Indiana State basketball-wise especially was an option. But yeah, they're trying to do things a lot differently money-wise than they have in the past. But now you're hit with a pandemic, and I feel bad for Greg because Greg has put a lot of love and desire into this, and I wish he could continue because I think he does deserve it.
I agree. Thanks for the call, JMV.
You got it. And by the way, Gino, that has nothing. I still will always love them, and I'm going to have their back because I'm really the only one that's going to have their back. But I, again, have a great deal of admiration for what Greg has done. And I hope he goes out in a blaze of glory, baby. Not many people want to stay over there. Me, and that's about it. Me and Gino. All right, Todd on the other side will lead. We'll do some anything goes at 239-1070. We're not going to check you in. You just call, boom, you're on board, and I'll bring you on board. This show, anything goes at 239-1070 next.
Last year, our average client saved almost $350 a month with an easy rate reduction refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about their favorite game than engagement rings. Imagine your favorite game has a secret level that gives you special powers to win the game. Well, if that game was called Getting Married, the secret level is called Hellsberg Diamonds. Choose from a huge curated selection of rings, or even design your own with our on-site jewelers. It's like a cheat code to finding the perfect engagement ring. Visit your local Hellsberg store or at hellsberg.com. Hellsberg Diamonds, a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Indianapolis area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46204.
Springtime, Indy, and for 20 years, Rhino Shield has been covering your neighbors' homes like Rich.
Aluminum siding built in 1961. It also had a lot of stains, and it was white, and we wanted to change the color.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
You know, we're told that it's hard to paint aluminum siding and get a good adhesion with regular paint, so Rhino Shield was great.
Celebrate Rhino Shield covering Indy for 20 years for 20% off the regular price.
They came on a Saturday and power washed everything all around the house. And then they came back and did all the work on Monday and Tuesday. And in 2 full days, they worked on a Monday and were completely done by Tuesday.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Don't confuse basketball madness with haircut madness. Get to Lady Jane's in Greenwood and ask for the King's Treatment. Lady Jane's in Greenwood on State Road 135, just north of Smith Valley Road. It's wicked awesome.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WFNI, WIBC, HD2, W298BB, WIBC, HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The NBA's best meet in Atlanta for the All-Star Game. Sunday evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Thank you for your support.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, 239-1070 is the number. You guys want to do some anything goes? Shout out to Mike Duke. Letting our girls practice at the Duke Barn tonight. The Duke Hoops Barn. Shout out to Mike for letting us do that. Hey, and by the way, too, shout out to my friend Bo Barrett and the gang at Center Grove for getting us on board there, too. It has been hard as hell to come by court time, especially when you're talking about 5th grade girls, right? And my man Bo Barrett is awesome. I know I saw this. Dan Graziano says the Seahawks are fielding trade offers for Russell Wilson. Bears, Cowboys, Raiders, and Saints as only approved teams. Bears, Cowboys, Raiders, and Saints. So Pete Carroll is 115 years old, and he's going to start new at the quarterback position there, huh? That's how this is going to go? I'm sorry, I don't believe that for a minute. I think now I believe more that Deshaun Watson is going to get traded than I do Russell Wilson. I didn't think Deshaun Watson was going to get traded. Bears, Cowboys, Raiders, and Saints. That'd be interesting. Then you're really going to get around here. Well, the Colts should have waited. Wonder if he would approve the Colts. All right, anything goes, 239-1070. You call in. Eddie is going to put you on hold, and bingo, I'm going to bring you on the air. Get the Pacers and the Nuggets to close out before the All-Star break. That's an 8 o'clock tip, 7:30 pregame right here. Coming up again, 7:30 later on tonight. Now, we do have a holdover. Todd's talking Edmund Sumner at 239-1070 before we officially dive into anything goes. Hello, Todd.
Thank you for taking my call, John.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. But by the way, so I don't have to be abstract here. I can actually talk sports.
You can do whatever you want, brother. Do whatever you want. Yep.
Hey, one thing, and I sent you an email on this before I get to Sumner. I wanted to shout out to Chuck Heppen and the IUPUI men's cross country team.
Yes.
They won the Horizon League championship today. Their second consecutive year. I know there's probably 2 listeners that care. But
well, I'm going to tell you this. I always looked at I viewed cross country as punishment before basketball started.
But I think they're the only two championships the Jags have actually won since they moved to Horizon.
Well, shout out to the cross country squad over there. That is a major accomplishment. Great deal.
So on Sumner, and he's obviously gotten some minutes the last couple games since he's been here. He's never got a consistent opportunity for a variety of reasons. Injuries are part of it. Depth, and caller earlier suggested we probably have too many wing players, and that's without the 2 guys that are on the IR right now coming back. But it seems like the last 2 games he played, we are plus points in the minutes that he's on the court. I'd like to see them give him, and I don't know where you get the minutes from. Maybe it's Holiday. I don't know who the minutes come from, but it seems like you'd want to give him a 10-day trial with some consistent minutes somehow in the rotation, and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then
Todd, I suggested this a little bit earlier, too, when I was talking to Jeremiah Johnson, because they are so awful defensively,
right?
At the very least. And a lot of what is said, well, his offense, and he can't shoot to 3. But, man, on the perimeter, they suck so bad defensively. I don't know how you don't give him more than just that casual look with this team because they are so bad on the perimeter, D-wise.
He is strong on the ball. Now, he's going to get beat on some back cuts while he's gawking, but he's strong on the ball.
Well, they can use any of that because they don't have anybody. They can't stay in front of their damn shadow half the time. So I would agree. I mean, I do agree with that. And, at some point, it's not even, looking for what it's just something that he does bring, and I think it's a commodity that's necessary, Todd, for this team. Thank you very much, and a shout-out to the IUPUI cross-country team. I swear to you, I always thought cross-country was like a punishment. It was like, hey, you know what? If you don't keep your grades up, you're going to have to go run cross-country. They still run through cross country like we had to run through the woods. I say we as if I did it a lot. Stop in the woods, take a whiz, wait until the rest of the group catches up, and then act like you've been there. David says, I taught Bo Barrett how to play basketball. Bo Barrett is awesome to me. Shout out to CG, too. Hey, by the way, too, coming up on March the 9th, that's Tuesday, and I put this up on both Twitter and Facebook, Jason Mueller is just one of the best guys of all time. Voice of Center Grove, has gone through incredible medical circumstances, has battled, still is battling, and certainly they have medical bills that are astronomical. And my friends at Kopeski Auto Wash are going to help on March the 9th, and you can too. With the money from that day going to help support Jason Mueller's hospital bills, his medical expenses. It's a great idea, and I'm on board because Jason is sincerely one of the best guys ever. So shout out to Jason. Shout out to Kopetsky Auto Wash. That's down in Smoky Row and 135. But, I mean, hell, just come from wherever. I got Chris Litzy's going to come down from Frankton. I got people wanting to donate. Why? Because you guys are the absolute best is why. And we support one another. And I'll continue to remind you that before March the 9th. In fact, I think on Monday I'm going to reach out to Eric Moore and get Eric on here, the head coach of Center Grove. Talk that up, too. That's a big deal. CGers banded together. My girls are actually practicing yesterday in the gym, and Trace Jackson Davis walked in there. My daughter goes, hey! Hey! I think why are you not as tall as that? And I'm thinking, hey, I don't know. Another thing I can pin on my dad. Thanks a lot, Dad. I don't know why I'm not as tall as that. It's pretty funny, though. But again, March the 9th. Let's all support that. Jason Mueller, great guy. If you want any more info, and certainly there's a GoFundMe up, and I can direct you to that as well. All right, anything goes, line 3 at 239-1070. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, John, this is Tom from Greenwood.
Hello, Tom from Greenwood.
Hey, I applaud you for your continued support of Indiana State. I know that's the program that doesn't get a lot of print, a lot of media coverage at all. But, ever since I've been listening to you on the radio, you've continued to support that. And the reason I say that is because there's another individual that works for your radio station that got a free college education going to a school in southern Indiana and does nothing but badmouth that university.
What?
And, oh, yeah.
Man, we can't have that. No, you know what? That's what, listen, it's personal preference if that goes down. But for me, I am an alum, and I do love it. And there's not a lot of people who are going to talk about it. It doesn't give you a lot of reason to talk about it, at least athletically, basketball-wise, in a good way, other than a couple of times since 1979. So that part I get. It certainly doesn't move the needle, so I don't talk about it all the time. But I show certainly my gratitude and my love and my feeling for that university that for some reason decided to give me a diploma. I have no idea why. But I will always be appreciative for that. I will always be appreciative for what Greg has accomplished. And if he's not going to be the head coach for the foreseeable future, I wish he would be. But if he's not, I'm going to put it on Sherrard to go out there and find the right guy to lead it. And I'm still going to be a huge fan and a great friend to Greg. So that's kind of where I am right now.
That's all I got. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you. Can't be bad mouthing of Indiana State. I've always said this, too, about Indiana State. People go, I'm not going to go over there. It's Terre Haute. There's nothing to do. You know how much of a blast I had over there? I've always said this, too. If you go to Indiana State, and not right now it's different because we're in the midst of a pandemic. Things just aren't normal. You go to a normal Indiana State school year, and you can't have any fun, that's your fault. That is entirely your problem. Nobody else's but you. And if you want me to, I'll give you my blueprint to have fun over there. JMV, not a fan of basketball super teams. I started with the Warriors, now the Nets. Word on the street is that you and Mike Wells are forming another girls super team. No, actually, in this case, Mike's daughter Layla and their Brownsburg team, they weren't playing in the spring, and we are. And I said, hey, Layla and our girls are all friends. And I said, why don't you bring – because my whole thing is being the friendship portion of it, right? Like, I don't remember what the hell happens. They hand out rings instead of trophies and all this stuff, and that is great, but none of this crap matters. The growth and the interest of the sport – and above all else, the friendship and the times that we spend being a part of it's what matters. Like, who cares if you beat Hamilton Southeastern, or who cares if you beat Brownsburg or Carmel? Who cares? It matters at that moment. It won't matter again after that. But the personal relationships, time spent family-wise, that's what matters. Those are the memories. This other crap doesn't. Whether or not I start the clock on time or spread the fouls around in the scorebook, none of that crap matters. Which I do. This is what matters. So anyway, yes, we're going to have a spring and summer blast with Layla, Mike Wells' daughter, on our squad. It should be good. All right, anything goes, line 2 at 239-1070. Hello.
John, am I on?
You're on. Go ahead.
John, it's Evan. It's been a long time. I talked to Griff the other day, and I just missed talking to you.
Well done. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, it's been good. First, props to you for the colonoscopy stuff with Franciscan. I'm glad that you had that done. I lost my sister to that colon cancer about 6 years ago, so props to you. Secondly, don't envy Scott Dolson these days. That's got to be a tough position to be in. I was with you on the Sam Darnold stuff because I thought that, it's lower risk, lower cost. So, but I thought with what Mike Chappell kind of articulated about the other prospects not being as, you get two out of every 5 of the top 10, 2 out of every 5 top quarterbacks pick you may hit on, and I think he kind of sold me on that this was a smart move for the Wentz stuff. But I know I've been all over the place, but
no, it's all good.
You, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope your knee's doing well. And if you haven't seen, I got my kid yelling in the back seat, so I'll let you go, John. Thanks again.
All right, plug the kid's ears. My knees need a little bit better. I'm gonna start smoking pot, I think. They say that works. No, actually, I'm not. I've tried everything. The only thing that really helps me at this point is rest and not playing hoop, but I love hoop, and I'm going to continue to play until they fall off. It's the way that it is. And I'm thinking, as long as I can shoot like this, I don't need to wait. I got to get it out there. I mean, one of these days you would think that this shooting prowess will just disappear. It's from Nathaniel. It's always a good day when you beat Carmel. Hey, listen, at the moment, for the girls, it is great. It feels good, accomplishment, but, yeah, it doesn't last much longer than that. I mean, hell, my daughter, they've already forgotten they won Monday. They have no idea. But I have fun doing it. I tell you, I'm going to miss it when it's no longer like when we hand them off to somebody else and they get coached up for real. I will miss it a great deal. Because I like being around them. They're fun. We have some really fun girls. A shout out to my man Evan McDowell's awesome, by the way, too. I miss our ATI get-togethers. I miss Brad Howe. I saw Brad Howe not long ago, too. I think we're going to see him all again here relatively soon as well. I can't wait for that. Actually, it's funny. If Evan would have hung on a little bit longer, I was going to tell him the story of getting my knees shot up, I think a year or a little bit longer. Kyle had the video, and he showed me yesterday. I got my knees shot up because of pain right out here on the table. Shot up both of them. It was like a year, maybe a little over a year ago. Actually, it had to be more than a year ago because we're approaching pandemic time here. What is it, March the 15th? Round 1 of the Big East tournament. That's coming up. That would be a year. I was downtown at the District Tap and then over with my guy Josh at the Slippery Noodle when everything just kind of fell in and ended. Line 1's Anything Goes at 239-1070. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My question is, since Carson Wentz cannot get number 11, are there certain numbers that a quarterback can only take?
What is it? What are the approved numbers by the NFL, Eddie, that a quarterback can get? And I've suggested this, and everybody kind of laughs and thinks I'm being a crank about it, but I've suggested the number 12. Don't you think that's a good idea?
How about 3 numbers? 111. No?
Well, you can't have that.
No? Why not? How about number 69?
The approved numbers for hold on. The approved numbers for a quarterback as follows:
1 through 19.
1 through 19.
Then why can receivers take those numbers?
Because they're approved for receivers.
Receivers can take 10 through 19 or 80 through 89.
That's 10 through 19, 80 through 89.
Okay. All right.
So you want Carson Wentz to take 3 numbers?
Why not?
Like 111?
007, maybe.
That's unprecedented, and that's why we have Anything Goes. Thank you for the call. Let's close it out. You're on the air. I don't know how you're going to do better than having 3 numbers as a quarterback, but go ahead. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Anything Goes. Go.
Yeah, I was just calling you about your knee. I have the same issue. I haven't played for a year and a half. I just started playing about 3 weeks ago, and first game out, man, I was dying, but then after that, everything seems like it's coming right back.
I think I thank you for the call. I think I'm very well protected because I have not 1 ounce of athleticism, and that really helps in this. But I will shoot it right in your eyeball and then tell you all about it. I'll tell you how it's short, and it's a bucket every time. JJ, Chapel, Anything Goes. Eddie, thank you. Kyle, thank you very much. Back with you tomorrow. Dylan Windler, Mike Wells, Bob Lovell, Don Fisher. Pacer Hoopage coming up 7:30 pregame tonight. 93.5, 107.5, 1070 The Fan. Have a great night.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire